How did you end up in Chinese gulag? My phone ran out of battery.
You don't need anything besides your phone. I pay my rent through WeChat. I pay all my finances are through WeChat. You link your banking card to it. The way that the men hog a loogie, or just it is just disgusting. It's just no shame. It's like, oh, please, I don't want to know this. It's like an ecosystem that's growing on there, and you're like, God damn.
Going to the lost city in Colombia. That's pretty cool. Just learned how to make coke, and then someone brought out a little candle on a chocolate bar.
The mosquitoes are crazy. And when we went, it was so humid, right? I didn't bring a towel with me. So I would take a shower, put on the wet clothes, and then go back to bed in wet clothing. And
you're like a walking disease.
I know. It was just,
All right, we are recording. Welcome, Nicole.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm super
You are very welcome. It has been ages since we've seen each other. We met in Ecuador, Quito, I believe 2 years ago-ish.
Yeah.
And we got the yellow fever vaccine together.
Yeah, I remember.
And we have very limited Spanish and nobody spoke English. We were just on an adventure together, I think.
That was nice. Yeah.
That's when we met. And I think we've had a lot of adventures since then. I'm John.
Exactly. We met in Quito, and I think we parted ways, and then we met back in Cuenca. Do you remember that? We met twice. We met back twice.
You were in Cuenca?
Yeah, we went to the same hotel. You got back from the spa with those other girls.
You weren't in the room when we played that game that one night, were you?
I don't think so. No, because we met in Quito.
That's a good story. We can skip then.
We parted ways, and we met back in Cuenca. And then I went to, I don't know where I went after. I think I went to...
You must have come to Cuenca towards the end of my stay in Cuenca.
Yeah, I think so. Because you know what it was? You were going to Peru.
I went to Mancora, and the borders were closed. You had to do 6 different things just to cross the border, and then get a taxi and negotiate, and they dropped you off at one city, and then you had to get a minibus and a bus and a tuk-tuk, and it's crazy.
Yeah.
Where are you? Okay, wait. So I'm from the U.S., and I'm in the U.S. right now.
Mm-hmm.
I've traveled around a little bit. Obviously, you have too. That's how we met. You are Canadian.
Exactly. Look, I even have a little Canadian keychain.
Oh my gosh, you're the one that gave me the...
I did. The first time I met you.
Because we stayed at the different hostel the second time.
Yeah.
And you Canadianized me with your flags.
The Canadian
I still
flag.
have that.
That's so nice. Do people always assume you're Canadian now?
Yeah, they do. And I'm just like, no, it's a gift. It's a nice gift. I like it. Me and Carlos don't get that many gifts. So
there you go. Exactly.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I was getting confused because I knew we had met at Community Hostel. I still have their bracelet, by the way.
Oh my God. Why are you still wearing that?
Yeah. Well, so in my past life, I was very boring. And you couldn't do anything exciting, no exciting colors, just be beige, no Carlos, no big beard. And I basically said, F that. And at one point was just like, all right, if you give me something to wear, I'll wear it until it falls off.
Wow.
And apparently their bracelet is not from China, so it has not fallen off.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I think, didn't you accidentally somehow stay in my 4-bed dorm in the second hostel in Quito?
No, it was a 6-person dorm, no? It was 6 people. It was me, you, then it was...
No, that was a 4-bed, like smokehouse, sweatshop, barely move around.
The first night, I remember it was me, you, 2 other girls. The girls from Australia, do you not remember?
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, so the girls from Australia. So we were there together for the first couple nights.
There was a ginger there.
Yes, yeah. Yes. And then I went to the Amazon, right, for a couple days. And then I think from there, that's when we parted ways. And then we met back in Cuenca when we were there. And I think we were staying at a 6-person dorm. And that's when those 2 French girls stole my charger. And I knew they were going to steal it. I fucking knew it because I was like, oh, I'm just going to charge my phone, whatever. Yeah. Them fuckers, I still follow them on Instagram. And every now and then I'm like, they like message and be like, I know you bitches stole my charger, but I'm going to just keep it to myself. Yeah. But I think
if you drink too much, you're not going to keep it to yourself. You're like, you thief. I'll find you.
Exactly.
No more baguettes.
Yeah. So that was that. But yeah, so basically,
I'm sorry, you got robbed by the French girls in South America. Usually it's like at gunpoint or machete point, and some sweet talking, lovely French girls just nicked your charger.
But you know what, though? I can say that during my travels, I've been like super blessed. Like, nothing. I've never been like robbed. I've never had anything stolen. I've never really lost anything. I've lost like maybe like my own bank card, but that's like due to my own negligence. But
yeah,
in terms of like, because you hear all the time, like backpackers either getting robbed, either getting stolen, either getting scammed.
Especially South America.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I think I remember you were telling me this one time, this girl in Ecuador was like helping this old guy need a backpack or something.
Yes. And we still talk. Yeah, tell the story.
Like sprayed something on her. Well, I don't know. I don't fully remember. So why don't you tell the story? Like how did
this girl has the worst luck. It's funny. She has the most Italian name ever. So I always forget her name, but it's the most Italian. It's like Mario and Luigi's grandmother. And she is lovely, but I'm convinced that some people just attract trouble.
Fair enough.
And before this experience, she was actually in Colombia, in Cartagena, inside the tourist city walls, sitting in a cafe during the day. A guy comes up on a scooter, pulls out a gun, robs her, puts it in her face, and takes her phone at 2 p.m. And drives off in the safe part of Cartagena in the middle of the day. So then she gets to Quito. Mm-hmm. And that was at the second hostel. And she is leaving. And she has her big backpack on the back and her baby backpack on the front, the tiny little backpack. And she's walking. And some little old man sprayed something on her, but she didn't know that he had sprayed it on her. She just felt like something. Mm-hmm. And then magically he has some paper towels to clean it off. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And so he's like, oh, let me clean off. And she's like, and he's the tiniest little old man. And, there's not an issue. So I bend over and I put my bag on the ground and then I kind of turn around for my bigger bag so he can wipe it off. And as I turn around, magically the little old man becomes Usain Bolt and takes her little bag and just bolts and is gone. Turns the corner, she can't find him, and her little bag had all of her electronics, all of her identification, all of her bank cards, her credit cards, her work computer, because technically she was still working, everything. And that was the second time in a month that she had been robbed. Mm-hmm. So don't trust the sneaky little old men in Ecuador.
Well, how's she right now, though? Like, you kind of think like a lot of the times when you go through these experiences, it really just I guess changes your experience on travel as a whole. Is she okay now? She's still traveling. She doesn't like.
So she is totally okay. She's got just a great outlook on things, a great mentality. Mm-hmm. Also, dare I say, a very good job. So that helps especially when financially bad things happen to you. But more important than that, she has a very good outlook on things. Mm-hmm. So she's just like, yeah, I lose shit. I have bad luck. But you know what? I want to adventure. And when I travel, I found that the craziest travelers are always women. Because these are just people like her who have just said, fuck it, nothing's going to stop me. I'm going. I don't care. I got robbed. Oh, I didn't bring bug spray to the Amazon. Who cares? I'm going in. And she's that type of person. So she's doing great now. I think she's back in Italy, or she got transferred to Brazil or something for her job. I mean, I follow up with her, but I don't want to like say where she works and what she does, but she's got a great outlook.
That's good. Have you ever been robbed though? Like, have you ever been scammed? Or
No, I haven't, but well, I don't want to say that too loud. Okay, yeah. So I had 2 issues once.
Okay.
But I want to tell sort of what happened in Ecuador. I don't know if I want to say this about Ecuador. It's funny. It's like you don't want to give a place a bad reputation, but you know Baños, right? You were in Baños?
Yeah. I was Baños for like a couple days. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a touristy city. It's really beautiful. There's so much nature around. There's a lot to do. It's great. Like go there when you're there. And the bus between Quito and Baños goes all the time. I think it's 6 hours or 3 hours or something.
$7 or so. Yeah.
Yeah. It's so easy. Everybody goes, locals, foreigners, everyone. It's for everyone. And I took the bus. Everyone else had taken the bus. No problem. I meet this girl at the hostel. You just meet lots of people at the hostel. And I'm telling her about Baños. I'm like, oh yeah, you take this bus and you do this and it's no problem. Blah, 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 blah. I leave Quito a few days later. And then 2 months later, I learned through the grapevine, because backpackers really are a community. Like, you are not alone once you become a backpacker. So I learned through the grapevine that this girl had taken that bus to Baños a few days after I left Quito. And some armed guys got on the bus, because these buses stop for everyone.
Yeah.
Like the school children or anyone that just flags them down, they stop and you get in. And so they stopped for the guys. They got on the bus, pulled out guns. They robbed everybody and they searched them. Like they patted them down, because they know that girls hide their valuables in their underwear and foreigners hide their valuables in little money belts. And hold on, got little dogs. I need one of these dogs when I get robbed. So anyway, I took that bus and I was perfectly safe. Other people took that bus and they were perfectly safe. And that day she got robbed at gunpoint, had all of her valuables and everything taken. And they just got off the bus, got on, robbed everyone, got off. And, you know, you're a tourist, you're fresh off the boat in South America. You're in Quito for a week and then you get a gun pointed in your face and robbed. Wait, hold on 1 second. I have to calm these dogs. Sit. Get on the chair. They're very spoiled, and they haven't had their evening bone yet. Hey, stop licking me, please.
Neither have I.
Thank you.
Peru.
I like that. We'll leave that part in. Or I'll just let you guys fight. Screw it. I'm not usually their keeper. What?
You cold plunges in the morning?
Did I say that?
Yeah, I think you told me you're like, oh, I just have to get ready. Or was that sarcasm?
No, I do them.
Do you have like?
But I'm trying not to be too preachy. Yeah, I do cold plunges. They're awesome and horrible at the same time, and you feel like you have died and come back to life again.
When you do your cold plunges, do you have like how do you do them? Like, do you just go out to like a body of water and just fucking jump in, or do you have like an actual like tank? With like,
well, I've just always had a bathtub, and I started it when I was in Vienna during Christmas, and the ground is super cold there. Yeah. So the water is super cold. And I watched some video that said you won't die. And so I put freezing cold water in the bathtub, and I even recorded it. It's pretty insane. And for the first minute and 25, you feel like you're going to die. And then somehow you become warm.
How long do you like stay in the water for?
They say 3 minutes, but I want to do it a little bit more. So I usually do it for 5 minutes, and then that's it. The longer, the more often that you do it, the longer you can stay in the water. But I think the main thing is just get in there for 3 minutes, as cold as you can make the water, and don't think about it. Just do it.
Do you do it?
And if... Do what?
Do you do it like every morning?
If I had access to a cold plunge, I would do it probably every morning and just put it into the routine of right after you wake up. Because as horrible as it sounds, your body is a bit warmer right after you wake up. So what I like to do is breathing exercises like Wim Hof.
Mhm.
You have no idea what you've done getting me on this topic. I love it so much. But I do some breathing exercises right after waking up. Wim Hof, just 30 deep breaths, hold your breath, 30 more, and just do it 3 times. And then get into the water. And if you do that, you just feel amazing for the whole day. But the water needs to be cold enough that it is physically painful when you get in.
Oh,
So it feels completely counterintuitive. But at 1 minute and 25 seconds, if it's very cold for me, I get warm again. And it feels like from my spine, the heat is emanating and radiating throughout my entire body.
so how long have you been doing them for? So you said from, like last few minutes?
Yeah, 1 year. 1 year. I did cold showers when I was in Bulgaria. And that was almost Christmas, but that was just because my building ran out of power and I wanted to go on a pub crawl. So I had to take cold showers. But yeah, just 1 year. And for the first, so I did it for 3 months, and then I was in San Francisco and I couldn't do them there. I had no bath. And then I was traveling over the summer, so I couldn't do it then. But when I came back to the US, I started it again. And after 1 month, you become really good at taking cold baths. And when you're laying in bed, you're able to warm up your body just by taking deep breaths. And it's crazy. It feels amazing.
That's pretty
So
cool.
not very long. Are you doing it?
No.
Yeah.
I'll maybe stay in the cold shower for 5 seconds, and I'm like, okay, that's enough for me.
That's perfectly enough. The crazy thing is just that if you cross the threshold,
Mhm.
which is usually like a minute and a half or so, you become warm.
Ooh, that's interesting.
And yeah. So once you take a cold bath for a few minutes, at least for me, I don't take a hot shower. I don't need a hot shower. I don't shiver. I have no goosebumps. And I can go outside in the winter for 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes and I'll still be warm. It's crazy.
Is it like it energizes you too, right? Like you just kind of
Yeah,
full shot of espresso.
100%, especially if it's really cold.
Oh, that's good.
You will not be sleepy.
Wow. Might take your word for it, but
I mean, the thing is, it's kind of like a crazy addiction. Everybody thinks you're crazy. So basically, I would have never brought it up if you didn't ask. But
it's good though. It's like a sense of wellness and like wanting to, do better and, kind of lifestyle. So I think interesting and cool. But you do have people that are like, oh, you take like cold baths and stuff. You're like one of those. Yeah. So you have that.
Oh yeah, I am. I admit it. Everybody thinks I'm insane. I have been banned from talking about cold baths or ice baths, cold showers, Wim Hof breathing, not eating carbs. I'm completely banned from anybody who loves me from talking about all of those topics.
Okay, man.
But I have to say, if you have a high stress lifestyle, if you work a lot, you only sleep 6 hours, and you're very regimented and you're very stressed out and you find it hard to center yourself, there's nothing better than an ice bath. So if you're, all perfectly centered and everything right now, it's not going to benefit you as much as someone who works 100 hours a week and goes crazy all the time. Because when you're in the ice bath, the most amazing thing is ice bath, not cold bath, ice bath. You can't think about anything because you feel like you're going to die. So you're super focused. All your stress is gone and you just become centered in that moment. Yeah.
It's good though. It's hard though. Like I would say mostly in Asia and Southeast Asia, like you don't really have baths. Like in China, like there's no baths. Like all of the friends that I have, like all over building, there's no shower. So it's funny though, the apartment
Wow.
that starting out was technically like a hotel room, and they just kind of did an apartment. So a lot of the times in China, like you'll have like buildings that are like half hotel, like apartment buildings. And so the that I'm staying,
Sorry, Batman. Cora. No. She wants a bone.
it wants attention. I think we all do. I think we all want a bone. Mhm.
They're putting you into a hotel room there.
No, so basically, like it was a hotel room, but then I guess like the landlord converted it to like a studio apartment, right? So now it's technically just like a studio apartment that was originally a hotel room. So the layout of it is like a basic hotel room. When you go in and everything like that, I do have like a small little kitchen island right by the door.
That's nice.
But yeah, but a lot of the times, like I have my friend, she just moved to a new apartment. Like she doesn't even have a kitchen island or anything. So she just has like a room and like a bath. Well, fine though, because the thing is like a lot of times in China, like people don't cook because takeout is
Really?
super cheap, like super, super cheap. Like when I'm telling you, like you can get like the quick meal for like maybe $5-6 USD. So the equivalent is like, well, right now, like I'm thinking in Canadian. So like one,
So like 50 US cents.
like one, hee hee ha ha, oh, so funny, so funny. But
Hey, I got the flag on my backpack, so I
That-
get to make some jokes.
we are neighbors. But so yeah, so it's takeout super cheap. Like you can get like noodles and like soup, just so accessible. Like anywhere you go, street food. It's just, and they have a like a food delivery app, right? It's called Meituan, and they have these I guess like these drivers that wear like yellow on their yellow helmet. So they work for the app and they're always like on the go, like 24 hours, 7 days a week. They're everywhere. Like you can get food delivered to you any time of the day. You can get groceries delivered to you. You can get like, you want something on like clothing articles or like a cell phone will just get straight delivered to you to the door. It's pretty crazy. Like the convenience in China is insane. So that's why also, and like apartments here, a lot of the time, they don't really have like stoves. So you have to
Oh my
kind of
gosh.
own separate stove. Like I had to buy like my own separate like induction stove, and I bought an air fryer. And I'm like, oh, I'm going to cook. I don't cook. I just buy so much takeout. So bad. But it's like the level of convenience though. Like you get a nice pad thai for like maybe $1, $2, $3 USD, and I can't complain, right? So the way of living here is, yeah, it's very different.
And they've had that for a very long time, I think. It wasn't just some new thing after Uber Eats magically appeared. I mean, they've had it for a very long time. You could order McDonald's takeout 20 years ago, I think. That would just come to your place.
So they have this like communal app called WeChat. So to them, like,
oh my God, it's amazing, isn't it?
I pay my rent through WeChat. I pay my like all my finances are through WeChat. Like messages, everything is through WeChat. So it's basically like you link your banking card to it, and then anywhere you go, they have these like scanners, and you just scan your QR code, and that like when you scan the QR code, it just automatically deducts from your bank account. So you can book hotels through WeChat. You can book flights through WeChat. You can talk to people through WeChat. You can post videos through WeChat. Like I pay my landlord through WeChat. I just kind of send her. I think it's
crazy
of like Venmo, but it's like everything. Like think about like all the social media apps in one, right? So that's why in China, like you don't need anything besides your phone. Like your phone is, that's it. Like, so when I go out, like I just need my phone. I don't need my wallet. I don't need anything, just my cell phone. And I mean, you do get fucked if your phone dies, but then the cool thing about being in China, it's like,
you can't pay to get home. You can't call anyone to get home. You don't have any ID, so they arrest you. How did you end up in Chinese gulag? My phone ran out of battery.
But hear me out though. There's always a solution to every problem is that they have portable charging stations everywhere. So like what it is they'll have a portable charger. It's like a box, right? And they have like little like 8 to 9 slots of these portable chargers, and you scan the QR code when your phone's about to die. You charge your phone, and then let's say you're going around the city, you can just slip it back to the same box. and like you pay for a little bit for it, but that's it. Like, you know what I mean? The level of convenience here, it's just like, I don't know, it's unmatched. Never have I been like, like the perspective of China is very different when you are in the West. But then like coming here and you realize like the level of convenience, the level of efficiency, and it just makes you have such a comfortable living here, especially if you are like a foreigner and the wages that you make in comparison, to like locals. Like if a lot of the times like foreigners here, either like there's 3 routes: English teacher, maybe models, and then business. That's literally the 3 routes. Like most of the time we see foreigners that are living in China consistently, either being an English teacher, either maybe potentially studying or like coming here for business. So those are the kind of the 3 major, jobs, I guess, type of industries that people like live here. But yeah, it's,
I think it's so interesting what you say about the perspective from the West. And that segues into so many topics that I would really love to talk to people about, especially as this podcast continues with so many friends that I have from Ukraine. And you're basically told that everything in China is backwards. And then the moment that you get to East Asia, you download WeChat and you just cannot believe that there is an everything app for everything that works and is weirdly logical and easy to use and has just taken over everything. And then you come back to the US and you're using Facebook. All right, give me 1 second. Okay. Oh my gosh.
She wants to be. Hello.
There you are. Hello.
Oh,
can you hear me?
Interesting. Yeah, I turned my VPN off because I thought maybe I could use it without VPN. And then I realized like I was on for like 5 minutes. So I saw you the entire time. I'm like, John. And then it turns out I guess I need my VPN for this, but which is another topic that we can get into.
Yeah, the VPN is super interesting. Are we back?
Yes, I think so.
Damn, I look good. I always tell myself how good I look when I have had wine. By the way, you look great.
Thank you. I think
you looked great when we met, and now you just look even better, like one of those models in China.
Maybe I'll do like a part-time teacher, part-time model. Thank you. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's just like, you're finally like adjusting. You're going through different like time periods of growth, and yeah, thank you. I'm
going through the Santa pirate time period of growth. I haven't decided if I'm becoming a pirate or Santa or pirate Santa. Probably just regular midlife crisis.
Have you heard of like shaving your beard? Just out of curiosity.
Well, like, only never every time every single girl asked me to do it.
Really? What would make you shave your beard?
I thought of things where I would, and then things have happened that have made it so that I thought, okay, I'm not going to shave my beard. And then I just forget about it and it just keeps growing. And it's a lot longer than it looks, if you recall. But I'm not really interested in doing it right now. I mean, I started growing it like this during when I couldn't even see people or touch a human for 6 months, or sometimes I couldn't even leave my apartment in Serbia for 4 days in a row. I couldn't even step outside or you could be arrested. I mean, so I was like, well, why am I shaving? Screw this. And then it just, kept growing.
You do like the occasional like touch-ups, right? A little bit of trim here, a little bit of there.
I used to do that, yeah. I take care of the tops and I do the mustache because full mustache, it's, I don't know how anyone can stand a full mustache. It's so difficult to eat. You have to, my teeth are going to be purple.
Sure.
Santa's strawberry wine.
Yes.
If you have a full mustache, you have to eat like.
Okay.
It's so weird. You look like a little fish.
When you get food stuck in your beard, are you like, snack later for next time? You know what I mean?
Exactly. Especially if it's cream cheese. That lasts a long time. Eggs will stay in there for a very long time. I mean, eggs, that's foundation for a lot of ancient paintings. That stuff's going to last.
Yeah, it's like,
it's good for long trips.
yeah, interesting.
It helps to get the extra seat on the airplane. The more disheveled you look. So I just don't style it or put it together. Just
You have a
shower for a few days.
hair tie at the bottom of it, right? To kind of.
Yeah, I got like 12 or 13 hair
Oh,
ties.
I thought it was just like one massive one. So
Yeah.
if you hair ties off, like how long is it? Like mid chest, torso, like kind of.
When we met, it was probably top of my belly, and now it's mid thighs. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
nah.
I know, it just keeps growing. So I was like, let's just go with it and see what happens. Yeah.
That's insane. That's so cool. Okay, so like when you like take a shower and like whatever, like do you like have a separate like routine for your beard, like beard shampoo, dinner oil, like no? That's so crazy. Wow.
Yeah, and you have to take care of it, and you have to put it over your shoulder, or you wrap it around your neck a few times. That's a good way to keep it, actually. And with the hair weirdly has stopped growing.
Mm-hmm.
It's not getting longer. That might be a stress thing. I don't know. But the beard has kept going.
Yeah.
But yeah, shower routines are pretty impressive at this point.
It reminds me of like Orthodox priests, like Christian Orthodox priests, like most of Eastern Europe. A lot of them have like really massive, long fucking beards up until like.
Yeah, they love me over there.
Yeah.
They always let me in the church and give me the free wine and everything.
There you go.
I don't know if they have wine in those churches. We kind of skipped around a bit, but one thing I really want to get out of you, we can talk later. We can do a whole nother episode on getting robbed in South America, by the way. I have so many stories before the dogs interrupted. And so many things you heard from other people where if you just knew what happened down there, holy shit. Okay, this is the last one I'll say, and then I want to figure out how you got to China. Right next to the place where I had lunch multiple times, one of the top 3 hostels, there's basically 3 or 4 big hostels in Medellin. Everybody goes down there. They say so many good things about it.
You remember the name?
The name of it?
Because I was probably in hostels too. It's in the Poblado.
No. Yeah, it's in the Poblado area, but it's on the south, or it's on the lower side of the big street, and there's 3 of the hostels. I stayed in 2.
I stayed in, and the dorms are like little capsules, right? They're not like actual like bed dorms.
I don't think it's that one. This one might have had sun in the name, but it doesn't matter. It was on the same street.
Yes, I know.
The one I'm talking about was on the same street as the one you're talking about. Yeah. And that street is the Gringo Street, with the Gringo restaurants and the Gringo hotels. And you have your free breakfast in the morning on tables that are right next to the sidewalk. Yep. So I'm in Colombia about a month later or so. No. Medellin is Colombia. Yeah. I was in Panama or Costa Rica right after that. And then I met someone who had just come there. So I'm 2 weeks out. And, pardon me, it's always a lovely person that bad things happen to. Oh. They're just easier targets. And so this group, they go out to the party district. They survive it without being robbed or stabbed or anything or drugged. They survived it, about 20 of them. You know, they're smart. They stuck together and they walk back to the Gringo Street, going back to the hostel. And a guy tries to rob them. And I don't know all the details, but the girl got shot in the face and she did not die. But she got shot in the face right there, right with all the Gringo stuff. I mean, if you just took photos and videos of that region and didn't say it was in Medellin, you'd say it's the cutest little area ever.
Wow.
But yeah, that happened to her right in front of that hostel, right in the street, just a couple weeks after I was there. And if you go down there and you talk to backpackers, oh my God, what happened in Costa Rica? I can't even listen to people tell me that Costa Rica is nice after what happened when I was in the main city. But anyway, let's not go too dark. Let's let's drink a little wine. Let's calm down.
I'm
I just can't believe that I made it out of Colombia. I can't believe I made it out of Costa Rica. I walked home from the most beautiful place you ever had dinner once, and on the beach, and everyone at the hostel was looking at me like I'm a ghost because I came home after dark alone. And I was like, why? I'm so beautiful. You know, a lot of rich people come to Costa Rica. It should be kind of safe, right? I'm like, bro, I don't know how you didn't get robbed.
No, it's crazy. So the girls do you know where the girls from, or like where exactly? Like
some country in Europe.
Damn.
Or Canada or the US. You know, I don't know exactly which one. But yeah, she got shot in the face. Stuff like that happens all the time. It's all the time. There's a basic disregard for life that is in Colombia and Ecuador and Venezuela. Colombia especially. We met some people that worked for the UN when I was there. And they were working on disarmament of, there was some sort of truce or something between the guerrillas and some of the other armed factions in Colombia. Some people probably know about it from Pablo Escobar. But anyway, they were talking about going into these villages and making sure the people were not stockpiling arms. I can assure you the people that were doing this were totally unqualified. But what they said was the craziest thing is just there's a general disregard for life.
Yeah.
Killing you means nothing.
Yeah.
Your life is nothing. And our perspective is that life has value. And the person robbing you down there is just like, you know, in movies where someone's like, oh no, please, blah, 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 blue, blue, blue. And down there, they're like, oh, you're just taking extra time. I stab you. In Bogota, this guy I met, and he was like a guy you would never mess with. Like, I'm not the smallest person in the world, but if I see this guy, I'm like, I'm never going to mess with this guy. And he walked one block out of the zone where gringos are supposed to go, where foreigners are supposed to go. And the guy comes up to him to rob him, but before he says, give me your money, he stabs him in the arm.
Wow.
So he stabs him in the arm and then says, give me your money. And the guy is like, he goes, no. Like he's done some things. You can tell when you meet him, when you talk to him, and when you see his tattoos, they're of a particular sort. And I don't mean to stereotype him too well. I spent 6 hours with a guy. You just wouldn't mess with this guy. So yeah, he said no and managed to not get robbed, but he's bleeding so profusely he has to go to the hospital and get stitched up. And that's right next to where I had an amazing dinner with 6 other hostelers one night. We couldn't believe it. Anyway, I'm going to talk way too much about all that violent stuff. I want to get to China. Can we get to China?
Yeah, of course. Wait, I'll give you like a small little timeline. So basically,
what the hell happened to you between Ecuador and China? I don't know what happened. Someone buy you on Temu?
Maybe that's why I'm here. Can't reveal my story. But after Ecuador, I went to Colombia, and then I had to go back because I had to finish my last semester of school. That's why I couldn't do like a long-term distance. So I finished my semester at school. I graduated, and then from
what
there,
is school for you in Canadia land? Is that high school or university?
It was my bachelor's degree. I finished my bachelor's.
Okay, college, yeah.
Grad, and then after that, in February of 2023, so last year, I went to India. So I was in India for 2 months. Really nice, really good experience.
Oh my God, yeah. I remember seeing those posts. So you were there as a tourist? You weren't working?
No, I just went there like after I quit my job because I was working at a retirement home, and then after kind of saved a little bit of money, and I went and I did my yoga certificate, as every like foreigner does. Every white bitch goes to India, and I was one of them white bitches, and I had her go.
You got it. Yes, I love it.
So first month was getting my yoga teacher. The second month was just kind of traveling around, and then honestly though, like hands down, like I loved India. I really, really loved India.
Really?
Like I
Really?
met, yeah, the just the experiences that I had, like just so unexplainable, and everything that I experienced there. And I had street food. I survived. I'm good.
Well, I'm surprised.
Yeah. So it was overall like a really good experience, and there's so much to see in India. Like 2 months is just like not even.
Where were you when you were there?
So I went to Rishikesh, so that's like kind of like a bit up north. It's like 4 hours away from like Delhi. So that's the yoga capital is like of the world, and I did the yoga training there, and it was really cool. Like honestly, like if you ever do want to get your certificate in yoga, I would say just fucking fly to India to do it, because you connect with culture, but you also like just have such a deeper level of understanding, because it's like there's one thing to do it back like at home in Canada or the US, but when you're there, like you're in the source, right? You're in the Himalayan mountains. You have like these teachers devoted their time and effort and teaching lifetimes of these practices. So we had like a meditation teacher, we had like a pranayama teacher, we had a philosophy teacher.
Wow.
It was like such a incredible experience, and it was just so beautiful. And the people you meet there, and it genuinely, like when you say like a trip changed your life, it really did. Like it was just 10 out of 10. And then after that, I traveled a little bit more. I went to Goa, which is kind of considered to be like India's like party town. So, I mean, it's like a coastal town. It was previously colonized by the Portuguese, so they have a bit of like a European influence there.
That's interesting.
It was really interesting, yeah. And then, so then after Goa, I also went down south to South India, to Kerala. Kerala is such a beautiful state. I think it's called God's own country. Like the people that I met there, and and it was just so beautiful. Just Indian people are just so like kind and caring. And obviously, I know
now by the time you go south, are you like the only foreigner, or is it a touristy place with lots of gringos?
It kind of like become a little bit like, well, not as much, but you still see like a couple, like a little bit. But I made sure I always stayed in like touristy locations. I always made sure that I was like safe, common protocols, like don't like leave like
drunk
after
with strangers.
Yeah. But it was funny though. So I was just like walking home. Well, not walking home when the sun was setting. I was like, okay, I'm just going to go back to my hostel. He was like a creepy guy that was like, it wasn't creepy, but like just being a little bit perverted in a sense where he's like, oh, I can give you a massage. Like, let me give you a massage, whatever. And I'm like, no, I'm okay. I'm okay. I had these like twin brothers. I think they were like 19, 18. They came up to me. They're like, hey, like, are you okay? Like, are you good? We saw this guy was creeping you out earlier. I'm like, no, like, I'm fine. Thank you so much. He's like, okay, like, let me know if you need anything. They're like, do you want to come over for our house for dinner? And I'm like, hell yeah, why not? And it was so sweet. Like, literally went to the stranger's house. They like fed me. I met their family. I met the mom and the dad, and super, super nice twins. And actually right now they're in Lithuania on like a badminton scholarship right now. So I still kind of keep in touch with them, but
in Lithuania, how random.
The badminton scholarship. So they're right now playing badminton for the university there. And just like, these are the type of experiences that like, you're just so grateful.
Wait, you can get a scholarship to college for playing badminton?
Yeah, you'd be surprised. Yeah, badminton. Yes, yeah. What? Anything's possible.
I like how that story ended happy, and it just could also be the beginning of a horror story.
True, fair. I don't know. Like, I'm just very lucky. I've been blessed with my travels that like nothing bad has happened to me. I did get into like kind of like situations where it's like, how are you still alive? But I'm still alive. I'm still living. I'm still breathing. Yeah. And then after that, I went back home. I kind of tried to look for a job. I was like unemployed for a really long time. And then I went to, I had like a really close friend of mine was like, hey, like I'm going to Morocco. Do you want to come with me? So then I went to Morocco. Well, prior to Morocco, I went to France for like 3 days or 4 days. I got like really cheap flight from where I'm from, Canada. But I feel like France, maybe Paris was a little bit overrated, but you love Paris. So I know our perspectives are completely different.
You remember that.
Yeah.
It's still a shithole though.
Yeah. but it's like your shithole.
Yeah,
I
I do
remember,
love it.
yeah, it was nice though. Like I just feel like maybe in Paris you need maybe 3 days and then you're good. But I went to the Palace of
You need someone to show you around to get something out of it, and also you will be depressed no matter what when you see some things that they don't show on TV.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I went to the Palace of Versailles. Really enjoyed it. Really loved it. So beautiful. Eiffel Tower. Just, I did the basic tourist hubs. Except I was so pissed. So basically, I was with my friend and my sister at the time, and I think my sister went to go see her friend. So me and my friend were just getting home from the Eiffel somewhere downtown in Paris. And so their metros are divided by I guess sections and areas. So you apparently zone 1, zone 2 or whatever. So my hostel, I think it was called Joey Hostel. And I was just, I guess I didn't get the proper metro ticket. So it wasn't in the proper zone. So when they were checking the fares, they stopped me and they're like, hey, that's your ticket. They're like, you're not in the right, you don't have the right ticket. I'm like, okay, well, one stop. It was one stop. So I was like, I'm sorry, I'm a tourist. Please forgive me for my sins. And then they're kind of giving us attitudes. They're like, oh, you're going to get a fine. And they're like, show me your ID. And I'm like, well, I don't want any issues. And then my friend's like, no, my friend at the time, she's like, no, I'm not going to show any type of ID, whatever. And for me, I tried not to escalate these situations because I'm just kind of whatever, give me the fine. But my friend's like, no, genuinely speaking, I'm not going to pay the fine. It was fucking 50 euros and we were one stop away. My friend's like, no, fuck this. So they're giving us so much attitude and aggression. And so they're like, if you don't pay now, then you're going to have to pay at the airport. It's going to be double, triple the fine. And my friend's like, okay, fine. I'll get the double, triple fine at the airport. And then basically I paid because I was, a wuss puss. I was like, okay, fine. I'll take my money. I'll pay. Leave me alone. And my friend didn't. And as we're leaving, she's like, yeah, they just say all this shit to scare you to actually end up paying the fine. But in reality, it's you do get a fine, but where does it go? Right? You don't have a visible address.
I can't believe all the shit that happens in Paris. It's these two tourists that are a little confused and give us 50 euros for beer money or something.
And then I heard though, I went on some threads on Reddit and they were just saying how they specifically kind of target tourists in that way.
Oh, little bastards. Petite feet.
Yeah, they know because they know that tourists are sometimes maybe unaware of the transportation system. They don't know how it works. So it's easy target. Then I went to Morocco after that, had a good time. Morocco was nice, but I would say that they're very aggressive, especially in the markets there. Super, super aggressive. And
really?
Yeah. Besides the food was really
Do they
nice.
grab you?
A little bit, yeah. You'll have women who come up to you and try to draw henna on you, and then after you're like, no, they'll literally take your arm and draw henna, and then you're like, no, thank you, and they're like, I'm pregnant, feed my baby. What are you gonna do? And then you're sitting there, and I'm like, I don't know, you
just tell them you're pregnant too,
right? And then my cousin, well, he's a family friend cousin, and he was like, oh, I want to go see the snake charmer. So we're looking at a snake charmer, and the guy takes a picture.
Is that cool?
It was cool, but my thing was, it was the guy with the snake charm, he's like, give me 50 euros. I'm like, the fuck? 50 euros for
shit. Buy my own snake.
And we're like, no, we're like, fuck this. We're like, I'm not going to do this. And they're like, oh man, please. And we're like, no, what the fuck? Are you fried? I get it, we're tourists, but it's at the end of the day, it's we also kind of make a living and we tried our best to travel to these places as well too. But anyways, long story short, I don't even think we ended up paying my cousin.
What city was that in?
Marrakesh. Yeah.
But I hear people have great experiences there the moment they go to the small cities, medium and small cities, and that's in every country. And the people that are aggressive are just I never want to go back to Egypt. I'll never go back. And it just ruins your experience that with the women grabbing you and then 50 euros. You're like, bro, that's fucking insane. Do I look like I'm made out of gold?
Yeah, no. Yeah, exactly. And then you'll have people who will pretend to help you, and then they try to help you, and they're like, okay.
Oh my God.
Those ones, we'll have people, we just ask for directions, and this guy was just leading us to different alleyways and different shops and all of this X, Y, and Z. And they're looking, they're like, okay, pay me now. And like, okay, well, what happened to like just being a kind stranger, right? But it is what it is, right? It happens in your travel. You just don't want that to kind of turn, like, make your experience turn sour. And then,
I think as long as you expect it, then it doesn't sour the experience. It's when you don't expect it and you sort of get hit with it in the face. And people in the West, we don't haggle. We don't negotiate. We're just so lacking in that area. And then you go to countries where it's normal and it just sort of like messes with you. And I feel like that plays into it as well. Like the guy says, give me 50. He expects you to give him 10 or something.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, that's very annoying. So you were there for how long? Like a month?
Maybe like a week or so. So it wasn't too much. It was just like a little bit of dismiss. But besides that, like, it's still a really good experience. Like I stayed in the Sahara Desert. It's really cool.
I'm so jealous of that.
Phone in the fucking Sahara Desert. And like when I tell
Why?
Because we were on these camels.
Stop it.
So we're on these camels. And finally, I'm like, okay, we're getting to leave and we're getting to kind of like the car parking lot. Well, not parking lot, where the designated cars are. And I'm like, oh, let me take a picture of the sunset. And I'm like, where's my fucking phone? It fell out. And I'm like, well, fuck
You got
me.
robbed by a camel?
So basically, yeah, it fell out of my pocket when I was heading home. Heading back to the kind of the designated area to meet up. And I'm like, well, fuck, my tickets are on my phone. Like, everything's on my phone, And then I'm like, fuck it. Let's just go back and look for it. So me and this, like, guy, I think we're just like, trekking through this fucking Sahara Desert. And, like, anybody who tells you the Sahara is hot, bitch, it's cold. It was so fucking cold. It was freezing. I was, like, shivering, and he stops in the middle of it. He's like, let's make a fire. So I'm just literally in the Sahara Desert in the middle of nowhere, just having like this fire. But anyways, we're walking and I fucking find it. Like I literally find my in the middle of nowhere. Yeah. Crazy. Like I'm telling you, like I'm so lucky. Like my experience,
wow.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. Yeah, and then after that, what else happened? Yeah, and then came back home.
So cool. Tell me, how soft was the sand?
Super soft. It was so nice. It was cold though. Like it was super freezing. And it's just had such a nice, like orangey kind of hue and glow to it. And it was just such a like unexplainable experiences. When you travel and it's just a moment of like surrealness hits you, you're like, holy shit, like I'm experiencing this. And it's so unexplainable. And it's just kind of, you sit with yourself and you're like, wow, like this is life and life is so beautiful and just amazing. And honestly. So that was really cool. Kind of like fast track.
It's like Aladdin magical. I didn't get to spend much time in the desert. I sort of just got to touch it for a little bit. We can talk about why later, but I just couldn't believe how soft the sand was. I'd never felt sand so soft. It was like cashmere sand, if they had different types. And I don't know what it was like in Morocco, but yeah, I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, I stayed in
Marzuka.
I feels like I feel embarrassed for not being able to pronounce it properly. Marzuka. I think it's called Marzuka. Yeah.
That's okay. The snake from the snake charmer bit you. Threw off your memory.
Yeah. And then I was actually, after Morocco, I wanted to travel more because I was like, fuck it, I'm here. Might as well just do a little bit of backpacking across. But my mom was like, oh, I want you home for the holidays, And I'm like, okay, fine. I'll come home for the holidays, So I ended up coming back home. And then I tried to look for a job in Canada, but job market is just very difficult right now. It's super hard to find like unemployed for like maybe 4 or 5 months. I couldn't find anything. And then I applied on Indeed for this teaching position. And and then I ended up getting the teaching positions to teach in China. And
awesome. Did you apply specifically to China or just sort of like to a bunch of different countries and China had the best offer?
It was basically like on LinkedIn, right? It was on LinkedIn and I saw this opportunity. It was a company called Ep. And then you just I applied it through LinkedIn and then I got like, you do like an interview process and you pass the interview. But the documentation that I had to get, like everything in order to go was a bit of a hassle. So like you had to get like your degree, and then you got to get like an apostille. You had to get a police background check. You had to also get that like certified in apostille as well. And then when you get to China finally, right? You get there, you also have to go through like a full-on medical check with the company. They have to. There are certain people who don't pass the medical check and have to be sent back home. So it's
What's the reason? The common reason?
I don't know. Like I guess like maybe like STDs, STIs or something. But they will fucking like body check though. Like when I went there, you get like a sonogram on your chest. You get like an ultrasound. You have to do blood work. You have to do pee work. They test your vision. They test your hearing. Like they do like a full body analysis, and then
I would fail the vision test. I feel like, damn.
So then after that, then they kind of wait, and then they see if like wait a couple days, and they test the results. If everything's fine, you stay. If not, then you go back.
And like you can't hear well enough. You are rejected.
Yeah. And then, so I've been in China since April of this year. So I guess it's now April until now.
Oh my gosh.
Yes, I've been here.
I didn't know that at all. Why? I guess I wasn't paying much attention. I was so stressed out, but
so I've been here
a long time.
Here for like 8 months now. And it's crazy because this is like kind of, I guess, like the longest time I've been away. Because I've traveled like 2 to 3 months at a time, but never like being away from home. And
something happens at 8 months. Once you hit the 8 month, that's sort of like another marker, and then you become you've got like leather skin. Nothing affects you.
Yeah, and then so I've been here since April, and it's like culture shock for sure. Like in a way where
what was it like when you first arrived, other than being violated?
Well, like. Besides that, it was so different in a sense to see how, like China's huge. And it's also like population density is like pretty big too. Like you because the city that I live in is called Guangzhou. And I think it's like,
oh, wow.
Yeah, I think it's either China's third largest city. I could be wrong. I don't know fully for sure. So there's definitely
Isn't that close to Hong Kong?
Yeah, it's just an hour away from Hong Kong.
Yes, the big one on the mainland. Yeah.
Yeah,
right next to it. You can take a train to Kowloon or whatever it's called.
The bullet train. So it's like a tier 3 or tier 2 city. So it's definitely like pretty big. But I got here and it's just like so different how I would say like advanced China is in so many different ways. Like just the whole like food ordering services. Like I remember when you first come to China, like the company pays for a hotel for you. And then you order like room service or just order. And then they have like a robot, like literally a fucking robot that brings you your food to the front door. And you're like, oh my God, what is this? And the level of how like everything is like affordable and well, obviously from my regard, because I am like a foreigner, right? So different kind of have to take that into account. And then just seeing like the buildings here and like how everything is lit up, like I'm telling you, the way that like the buildings here are in China, and they have like the buildings are always lit up with so many different colors and kind of like I don't know what the proper terminology of the lighting is, but like LED strips on crack, so all these buildings are up like fuck.
I love it.
And it's insane. And I think what I kind of like, I'm trying to see like the culture shock in a sense where, it is though, like it's definitely difficult to communicate because not a lot of people speak English. Like Guangzhou in itself is technically a bit like of a touristy hub, but like even then, like it's hard, especially the language barrier. Like it's kind of get around and not being able to like communicate. And so I started taking Mandarin classes actually. So I'm taking Mandarin Chinese now. But I would say like kind of like the culture shock in the sense where it's just the limited, I guess, resources for English speaking. But it makes sense though, because it's like you're in another country, right? Like why do they need to learn English, right? Because this is
we're just
country.
So used to so many other countries learning English. And then we forget that Europeans learn English because it's their common language, basically. They have a billion different regional dialects and I don't know, 50 different actual legal languages or whatever they call them. So they learn English so that everyone can talk to everyone, except for the Spanish who don't learn English and the Italians who don't learn English, but everybody else.
Yeah. And honestly, like the people here, like Chinese people have just been so kind and like, you know, just very sweet people. They do take pictures of you though, like especially like
I was gonna ask about that.
Yeah, like funny though, because like sometimes like they'll just like look at you in the subway and they'll like secretly try to take a photo of you and they'll try to like pretend like taking selfies and see that they're just like trying to take a photo. Some of them just don't care. They shamelessly just take their phone out. Especially like the older generation. They're like yeah.
Do you ever pose for it when you see them taking a photo of you? Make it like a little photo shoot.
It was so funny. So when my sister came to visit, we went to Chongqing, and Chongqing is considered to be like the cyberpunk capital of China. Super cool.
Sounds
it's like
awesome.
It's the city where you see the subway station that just goes through a building.
Awesome. Yeah, so that's in the mountains, I think.
Yeah, so we went there and it was so funny. Like we're just kind of chilling, and then this like grandfather just gives me the baby. And he's like, he just has, like no, like dead ass. He just hands me a baby, and he's like, picture, and he's like bowing down to me, and I'm like, because I'm like some kind of like.
What do they caption that photo when they send it to their family? White lady stole my baby, or
first time, like we went to this like amusement park, and then this woman just like hands me her baby, and then I'm just like with a baby in my hands, and it's such a cute baby. It's just like it's just funny, yeah. And then they're cute though, and
one time just run and see what happens.
Right, and like you have like I guess here in Guangzhou, like people are kind of more used to foreigners, but like if you're more like in rural areas or up north, like you will have people who want to like take a picture with you, and they're like, oh, like you're a foreigner, you know what I mean, and what are you doing here and stuff. Sometimes like when you're taking like trains to different cities and stuff like that. But besides that, it's been good. I'm trying to see. Ask me some questions. Like I need to know. Like let's get this.
Well, mainly I want to know your first day in China. You're in a hotel. A robot just serves you a Big Mac, and you're ready to venture out. What's it like when you're on the street and you're doing whatever you want to do? You're just like overwhelmed by the giant modern buildings, or like, I don't know what's it like.
Well, I had like, when I first flew, I basically flew from like Ottawa to Toronto and then Toronto to Hong Kong. So it's like 12 hours. And I can't sleep on flights. Like I genuinely like, I cannot. So that's for like 12 hours.
I feel that.
Right. I get to Hong Kong. And then in Hong Kong, my next flight to Guangzhou is within another 12 hours. So I was literally had the 12-hour laying in Hong Kong. And I'm like sitting there and I'm like, oh my God. So I've been up by at least more than 24 hours at this point. So anyways, like and you know when you reach that level of exhaustion that like you're just kind of like not being able to like process anything. You're kind of like, you're just like, what is happening? Is this a dream? Like you feel like it's like a fever dream. So finally I get picked up from the airport. I'm just like in this car and I'm just like driving through and I'm like seeing these buildings and it just feels so dystopian. Like it's insane. Like you think like New York City is big for like maybe maybe Chicago, all these other like massive cities, but then you're here and you're like, you forget how small you are. Just your like level of significance from who you are versus the rest of the world. And a really big thing like when you travel too is it's like you forget all of this is happening all at the same time, you know? So like all of this is happening at the same time and you're just kind of processing it and you're like, yo, like I'm in China and like being here too, it's like I had like warnings, like had friends and who are like, oh, like be very careful, like don't do this and don't do that. And like you also have people who are like, oh, like they have camera footage everywhere, CCTV everywhere, like, you know, but then like you're here and then you realize like not all of them are even real. It's just kind of like for security and protection. But then you also realize the underlining behind it is just for like, you know, common civilian protection and safety. And like, when I tell you, like, China is also so safe. Like, this is probably one of the safest countries I've ever been to. Like, insane level of like security and protection. Like, you'll have people who just have their like packages outside the house, their food outside the house, like nothing. Like, like nobody steals anything. Like, sometimes I went on a trip for a couple of days, had so many packages at my door. Nobody touched anything. Nobody took anything. Like, you know what I mean? That level of like communal safety. I can feel super safe just walking down the street at like 4:00 in the morning, knowing that nothing will ever happen to me. You know what I mean?
By the way, I totally judge a city by that last thing you said. The 4 a.m. walk home. That, if you can do it and feel safe and be safe, that's worth a lot.
Yeah. And what I was super surprised too is like, definitely like being here, like people never sleep here. People are always on the go, like working. Like, you'll have like little food trucks always open, restaurants open super, super late. Where I'm from, like a small city in like Canada, Ottawa, like everything closes after like 10, 11. Boom, you have to go to bed. Here, like people are open to like they have 24-hour KTV, like 24-hour karaoke, right? 24-hour spas. Restaurants that are open 24 hours. They have a 24-hour hot pot. So have you heard of hot pot before? It's like...
I know about it. I don't know what version might be there. Like, I don't know if I know the real version. You know what I mean?
So it's just basically a hot pot is like a Chinese dish where you have kind of like a broth and you cook your own meats and then...
oh yeah, I've had a bunch of versions of that.
Open like 24 hours. So like the level of like accessibility, like you can do anything and everything. You know what I mean? But people do here, like they work hard. Like that's one thing about here. Like, it's definitely like the work ethic is prioritized. Like, especially with where I work, like I work kind of like at an after school program. So like you'll have these kids who are at school from like 9 to 6 and then they have to come to like, these after school programs from like 6 to 8. So these students are just like 12 hours on end. And what I really like admire in China though, is just how much the parents try to put effort in their children's development. So like, like different malls and you'll have like different sections in malls, like just full on like dedicated for kids, like whether sports or music or calligraphy or drums or like anything like a playground or a ball pit. Like all of these are always kind of catered to their kids' development. And I know it's just the way that they put so much. I get like maybe a little bit too much pressure on the kids, but just wanting their kids to succeed and always trying to want the best for their kids. I have a lot of respect for here in China.
That's really interesting. I never heard those things before.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then like
I think go on.
No, go ahead.
I think the 24-hour nature of it is such a big thing that, like, for instance, people in New York, they like to say it's a city that never sleeps. It does sleep. Okay, it really does. When do most liquor licenses end? Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't remember. 2:00, I think. 3:00,
2 a.m.
Even 4:00. Yeah, it's really early. And then they'll say, "Oh, but then you have after hours places." Yeah, none of you go to the after hours places. None of you go. Okay, like I've partied all night. You've partied all night. We've been to places where the bars close at 4, and that's when the clubs open at 4. And but you're kind of brought up thinking, oh, okay, a city like that, it's the most active city, blah blah blah, New York, and then you leave and you find these places that actually never sleep, and you can get whatever you want. And then, people are working at 4 a.m. They're getting to work at 4 a.m. or 5 a.m. Have you been to Seoul or Seoul? I kind of hate pronouncing these names in local.
I've never been to Korea, but I'd like to.
So I think the greater Tokyo area might be bigger, but when I was taking the train from the airport into my hostel in Seoul, South Korea, it was exactly like you described, with just a city so big you couldn't comprehend.
Yeah.
And so new and so magical and so cyberpunk-esque. And you're just like, wow, New York is fucking small. Like, I mean, America, we have a lot of area. We don't all need to be huddled in one place. And some of these countries, well, China has a lot of area too. But anyway, it's just, yeah. So to hear you describe it, that's what it was like for Seoul for me, where you could get anything and all different varieties and super convenient and super new and super modern. And we just talk about it in a weird way. And I'm like, maybe if you talked about it in a more accurate way, we could learn from these places. Yeah. We could learn from WeChat. Facebook. Did you know Facebook has like a dating app on it and like a Wi-Fi password saver or something like that? I mean, they tried to become WeChat and they just failed so miserably. They probably should have just copied it 100%. And then, so you think there can never be a super app. Like that'll never work. And then when I got to Hong Kong, I had to get WeChat to use it with the people I met there who are in mainland China doing what you're doing. And you open it and it's just like, Jesus Christ, these people are pretty fucking smart.
Yeah. Right? Like also take into consideration. So like Google doesn't work here, right? So we're still Google Maps, right? Like anywhere you go in the West or anywhere in the world, it's like Google Maps, Google Maps, Google Maps. China designed its own like app called
GPS
Baidu
or something?
Yes, Baidu Maps, right? Super cool, super accurate. It shows you like everything to the T, like how far you are in the sense where like when you also order like a taxi to come pick you up, like how fast the taxi's going, how many cars are ahead of you, if the light is turning green, if the light is turning red, like, you know what I mean? And it's crazy to think it's like, you know, we always think like Google's like the best next thing, but you realize like there are like, you know, and they have like Baidu Maps and they have like their own forms of social media here and their own TikToks. And like, you think that like, you know, us using like Instagram and Facebook and Twitter, that's everything. But then you have this entire like population here that doesn't even like, you know, go about their day with not even like thinking about these types of social medias. You know? So I think that's pretty cool.
It's really interesting. I've thought a lot about it. I don't know. I wouldn't say I know a lot about China, but in talking to some people, I know a bit, I guess. In talking to people like you who've been there. And one thing that's interesting, I think the most powerful thing in the world is culture. Also the most interesting. People, like, you could just say, oh, nukes are the most powerful. Yeah, but culture determines if you push the button or not. If you're an ultimate pacifist, you're not pushing the button, basically. The U.S., our most powerful weapon has been Hollywood, actually. And it invaded Europe to the point where the first time I was in Germany, I was so excited to listen to German music and turned on, or my host mom turned on the radio in the car and Britney Spears was on.
Oh, wow.
So it was all, I was so disappointed because I wanted a different experience, you know, than I had at home. And so then you're just used to that. Like you said, you think, oh, it can't develop without it. Could it? Then you see China. They were like, no, that culture, we don't want it to invade us as much. We're going to do a lot of things on our own. Now, of course, there's a lot of things that underpin their society that were created in the West and Europe. But I just mean like their movie culture, which their music culture, all the things that you're talking about have allowed things to develop in a slightly different way because it wasn't just Instagram coming in and being the exact same app type thing. I think that's what makes it fun to go to places is it's not the same. But how do you communicate with people back home? How do you everyone on Instagram or WhatsApp or
The little tricky part is like finding a good VPN service. So I think that's just kind of been like I've gone to like 3 different types of VPNs actually recently. So right now I'm on a VPN called Let's right now, but it's just finding the proper like VPN service that allows you, because originally like I had Astral, then it wasn't working, but yeah, so mostly through VPN. Originally when I had my first one, that was really hard to communicate with my family because nothing was working. But yeah, but the thing is, it's like, there's so many ways to work around it. Like, everyone thinks, oh, China, like nothing works there, this, and that. But like, you download a VPN and you're good. Like, you're fine. And then when you go like places like Hong Kong or like Macau, that are not technically considered to be like not mainland, it works without like VPN. You know what I mean? So it's things like that as well. Trying to see what else. Yeah, just kind of like regular social media apps. Just download a VPN and then you're good. It's not as like authoritative and like totalitarian as people think it is. You know what I mean? There's always just like this big assumption that like it's like this and that. Like no, like people here chill. They do their jobs. They go on. But I would say that there is a bit like more of like a lot more people smoke cigarettes and a bit more of a drinking culture here, because like that's the only kind of way of leisure that you do have here, and it is definitely like in terms of like rules and regulations, they are a bit more strict with like what you're doing. Like obviously not consuming any substances that are not allowed, X, Y, and Z, but it is what it is.
I
right?
heard that they cracked down hard on that a few years ago.
Yeah, like they're very strict on that part as well, right?
Some of the English teachers used to enjoy themselves, maybe more thoroughly, you could say, or just more expansively. I don't know, expanding their horizons, and then they cracked down on them massively. And I met a few of the teachers who left at that point, and they've got some great stories. But you mean just like going about your business, you don't feel anything crazy?
No, it's like, and it was this whole thing like China has like digital security and like this and that, like
the credit score.
It's like
social credit thing, yeah.
My sister and I, we went to the Avatar Mountains, and it's basically what the Avatar movie Pandora was based off. It's based off these mountains.
Cool.
Super, super cool. I would recommend not going when it's cloudy, because when I went, it was super, super cloudy. But anyways, we went. And like, I basically went to the receptionist. I'm like, hey, we want to go. He's like, okay, just give me your name, your passport, and then you're good. And then we go there, and then we don't really have a digital ticket or anything like that. They just go in, and it's just through facial recognition. So like, and pretty, you're just going in and out of these parks mostly through facial recognition, which is nice because it's like not having to have like a ticket man just sitting there having to scan it and this and that. And then like, also, like having like schlep your passport and all these things around. Like you go in, everything is convenient on that end. I will say though that like China's also made like a lot of their I guess excursions and nature more accessible. So like for example, that park that I went to, it's called Jiangjiajie. It's like Avatar Mountains. They have the world's like tallest elevator in the world. Like, you know what I mean? Like they make things really accessible. In China here, like a lot of the times, like the elderly want to experience leisure as well. And they always try to accommodate to the elderly, which I think is really interesting as well. So yeah, so it's
super cool.
Accommodating and like a level of like, just comfortability. Like, for example, like if you're going on a high-speed train to Hong Kong, you can literally order your KFC to be delivered on the train before you go, and you'll have people go put your KFC on, on your train, then you go. And it's interesting. You can put the seat number and like you will which train number, and then they just deliver it right on your freaking.
Like it's at your seat.
Yeah, like they have places like that too. Yeah, they just have
so
like
cool.
Yeah, and like KFC has such a big chokehold here in China. It's everywhere.
Really?
Yeah, everywhere. They love it. And it's interesting though, because they definitely do cater to like the Chinese cuisine and Chinese culture. They'll have like the porridges here and just kind of catering. They obviously have like the regular chicken sandwiches and things like that too, but they have also like catered specifically to what the people eat here, which I think is really cool too. The fast food does like that sense of accommodation.
Wow. So do they have a lot of 7-Elevens?
Yeah, they have like 7-Elevens too, and it's like typical, like you can get like your noodles and like what you want to eat and things like that.
Because
too.
in Japan, I think it's a law, they have one 7-Eleven every 2 blocks.
Really?
I've never seen more 7-Elevens in my life. They are the cleanest. They are so clean. You could eat off the floor in the bathroom. I mean, and they're open 24 hours a day, and you can buy alcohol in them 24 hours a day. And they bow when you buy stuff. It is great.
Really nice. Cool. Did you
It's really fun.
recently?
Did I
I
what?
don't know.
I'm sorry.
Hear about that? I think there was this guy who was trending, and he was like going to these like countries in Southeast Asia, or mostly like Japan and Korea, and he was like being like highly like inappropriate and like
I think
being
I heard of that guy. I don't want to give him any more fame, but I think he got arrested in South Korea, didn't he?
yeah, I think he finally got like arrested and got like I don't know if he is in jail right now, but yeah. I think it's just
well, pretty much no country has freedom of speech, and I don't know what he got arrested for, but you learn that. You learn that there's no freedom of speech in the rest of the world when you say the wrong thing.
Well, I think a really big thing is just like accommodating to the culture that you're being there, like you're being in.
Yeah.
Like it's like you have to understand, like you can't just be ignorant, like, oh, my country's like this, but it's like this is not your country, right? So it's like you can't sit here and like sit on your high horse and like act accordingly to what's going on in your country. And that's the thing. That's why a lot of the times like certain tourists do seem a bit ignorant and arrogant. But it's like you have to understand that like not every country is going to be like your own, and there are certain rules and regulations follow, and things that are out of your control. The most you can do is like be respectful, be accommodating, and like do as you're told, because at the end of the day, it's like it's not your place, you know, to say what you can or can't do, right? Which is why like I wanted to pick up like Mandarin, because like so much of culture is also tied into language. And
yes, I'm so happy you said that. Oh my gosh, continue.
Like when you're able to just communicate with someone, it's like I saw this quote. It's like when you speak someone's like first language, like you communicate with their heart, and you speak someone in their second language, it's like you communicate with their brain. And because
that's very nice.
Yeah, and just being able to just have that same level of like communication and connect with them and understand how culture is, and you're like just understanding a whole nother level of like community, right? But
there are words in some languages that aren't in other languages, and those words carry a lot of weight and a lot of meaning and a lot of emotion that you can try to replicate in a whole sentence, but you can never actually encompass. And that's what I think is the beauty of what you said.
And like the Chinese characters, like it's insane. They have like over like 30,000 characters, and like everything is based on tones. So they don't have like a phonetic alphabet. Everything is based on the character. So it's like the way that they
I think that's the most batshit insane thing. I'm sorry to interrupt.
The way that they type is like it's called pinyin. So it would basically be like the phonetic translation in like regular alphabet. And then they type it up, and then the corresponding character that they need gets translated, and then they click it, whichever one they need. It's pretty insane.
Wow.
Or you'll have certain like elderly who will just draw the character on the keypad, and it just like generates the corresponding character. Yeah, Chinese is like such an interesting language too. And
Can you say all of the, sorry, go on.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah?
No, go on. I won't forget the question.
Yeah, no, it's just, and the grammar too, like Chinese don't have like genders. So like he and she is the same. Like it's just really nice. Like they don't really have like the pronoun.
I never thought of that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Like he or she, or like those type of pronouns. It's just like one single pronoun, which is really nice because like that makes the grammar
human.
so much. Yeah. Well, too, and just it's a very like logical like language in a sense where it's like very direct, and the word is directly translated what it means. And yeah, but it's interesting. Like I just like my level of proficiency, because I've only been taking like classes for maybe like 2-3 months now,
but in a wildly different language, not like Spanish or something.
Yeah, it's something that I'm completely different. But it's nice, and like when you try, you just see like the locals just like smiling, and I'm like, okay, this person is trying, right? It's not easy learning another language, which is why I never understood why people make fun of other people and their accents. It's like you speak one language, and then like this person speaks like maybe 6 or 7, and you're gonna make fun of their level of proficiency.
Yeah.
Like it's like, yeah. But what was your question?
Can you do all of the shays?
The tones. Oh, okay.
Yeah. That's the only one I've heard where someone said, like, I don't know how many different ones, and they were like, everyone is a different word.
Yeah. So
It was like sh.
yeah, exactly.
No.
There are 4 specific tones in Mandarin. There's so there are like different intonations. So it's like ah, 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 ah. So like, right? And like, you'll have like so many different like words that kind of like sound the same, but because of the intonations. And then you'll have like Cantonese, and Cantonese has like 9 tones. So like,
oh my God.
Yeah, so imagine all of these things. It's crazy. Like, so like sure is like a word to be, but it can also mean like 10, and it can also mean like, and then there's like s, which means like 4, or like if you're not pronouncing the proper like tone, it can mean like death, which is also really interesting too.
Okay.
So like technically 4 is not like a lucky number in China because 4 symbolizes death. So a lot of the times, like you'll have buildings that will go like 1, 2, 3, 3A, 5. So they'll try to like skip 4 because technically 4 is like not considered to be like a lucky number. So then you'll have like, again, like 10, 11, 12, 13, 13A, and then 15. So like they'll try to like minimize the number 4.
What do they do when they get to 40? It's just like AO, A1, A2?
Maybe, but a lot of the times, like buildings, right? Like my building has it specifically, like one of the elevators, like they don't have like 4, like it's like 3A or 13A because, 4 is death and they don't want that. It's not considered to be like lucky. Yeah, which is really interesting, right? Like you never know until you're here that you see these things, right?
What is a lucky number?
Different ones. They have like, funny enough, like 666. Which technically is like what? Like in Western, like
the devil, I thought.
It's like liu, 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 which means like cool, cool, cool. So when you want to say like, yeah, something like, oh,
so
wow.
The devil is just a cool Chinese dude.
Yeah. Like when you say something like, oh, that's so cool. You could say like liu, liu, liu. It's like cool, 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 cool. Like, and it's so interesting too. They'll have like different hand gestures for different numbers. So this is 5. No, sorry, this is 6. So this is how they would count 6. So it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then there's like 7, 8, 9, 10.
It's like gang signs. Oh my gosh.
So this would be, and there's different ways. Like this is 10, this is 9. So like different, yeah. But just I think is really cool as well too. So like being here, you learn so much about the culture and everything like that. So
that's super cool. How are your chopstick skills? Can you eat a cheeseburger? Can you eat a KFC chicken wing with chopsticks?
And I can too. And also in China, they always give gloves, plastic gloves for everything. So like when you get a pizza, when you get fries or French fries, like here in like US, you just take with your fingers.
French fries.
Yeah, they give you like either like toothpicks or little like skewers or gloves. So you get like little plastic disposable gloves. Like I ordered a burger to work. And I was like, just literally put the gloves on. I'm like eating this burger.
Like it's contaminated or something?
Yeah, like pizza, because like the cleanliness is a big thing, right? So they like, they don't want to.
They must think that we are, I don't know, just like cavemen.
Right. And the thing is like, I don't know if this was like implemented maybe before or after COVID, right? Could have been like, right? We never know, right? So I'm not too familiar about that.
Well, a lot of countries in Europe do that as well. And I always found it funny when I went to a country where the men are really manly men. And like I'm in Poland and all the guys are working out and they're big and buff and they have these really effeminate fanny packs. And when they go to eat chicken wings, they would wear gloves. Like big guys.
Yeah.
Lots of muscles bulging out everywhere. And they put gloves on to eat the little chicken wings. So I guess it happens.
Yeah.
Then what is it in France? They eat burgers with a knife and fork. Oh my God! In Switzerland too. It's the funniest thing I've ever seen. Do they do that? Do they eat burgers with a fork and knife?
I mean, you can. Yeah,
and they pick up the burger with chopsticks. Like I'm guessing you get expert chopstick skills at some point, or like really strong chopstick muscles or something.
Well, like when I was like moving into my apartment, right? I was like literally trying to find like any utensil aisle, and I go like down this like aisle, and it's like 75% just chopsticks, any type of chopsticks you want, like, and then there's like
Cool.
kind of just like actual like utensils, like forks and spoons and knives and everything like that. So it's like it's all like full on like designated to just chopsticks. Yeah,
Are
pretty.
they slurpers there?
What? Oh, one thing though that like you can ask anyone who's been to China, the way that the men like hog a loogie, like, or just like it is just disgusting. Like it's just no shame. Like you'll literally just be like walking and enjoying your walk, and you just hear like the gnarliest, like deep raspiest like snot that's about to just be like spat out, and you're just like, oh, please, I don't want to know this. And it's everywhere though. Like and it's just such a communal like thing being here. Like you'll have just the men who just like cock a big loogie and just like put all their might into it and just spit. Like it's like an ecosystem that's growing on there, and you're like, God damn, please.
Tissues are forbidden.
Yeah. And then also like, Mhm.
No, go on.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. What were you gonna say?
I was going to say, do they have designated smoking sections on the streets as well, like they do in Japan?
I don't know, but like it's more common to smoke there. Like you can smoke at a restaurant and things like that. It's not like that much of an issue. I guess it's just depending on the place. But it's funny, they don't have like the typical Western toilets here, so they have the little like hole in the ground, which I'm used to. You get used to, like, is anywhere like most of Asia, a hole in the ground.
You get used to it fast, or you fall over.
The mobility that these like Asian people have, right?
That's that's what you needed the yoga certificate for.
Right? Yeah, and it's just, just like a little like hole in the ground, and you do your business and you go about your day. My sister though, like she was like traumatized.
You were like, babe, just aim better.
Yeah, and then she was like, just one time she went in, she was like, oh my God, Nicole, I saw like a Jackson Pollock painting of just like shit on. And I'm like, well, then I know. I had a friend from work, her fucking AirPod fell in the toilet. And she was like, I'm like, girl, like, kiss that AirPod goodbye. You're never, ever again.
That's it.
Yeah.
I think the first time you experience a toilet like that, it is traumatic. And you're just like, my Western body is just not made for this position.
Yeah. Because my mom's side of the family is from a post-Soviet state called Turkmenistan, so it's really common back there to have like holes in the ground. But we're taking a train to go visit my grandma, and it's just like this hole in the ground, and you could just see train tracks at the bottom of it. So it's like it's not even like an actual like sewage system or a flushing system. Like it just goes right on the tracks. Like you're just like peeing, and you can just see the wooden tracks at the bottom of it.
Nice.
Yeah, but
fertilizing the tracks. So your family's from Turkmenistan.
So my mom,
I thought you were from Ukraine.
So my dad's from Ukraine. So like I'm half Ukrainian. Like my dad's like fully from Ukraine, and then my mom, she's from Turkmenistan, like a post-Soviet state,
Wow.
And half Russian. So like I have like, so my grandmother on my mom's side, so my mom's mom is Russian, and my mom's dad is like from Turkmenistan, and then my dad's from Ukraine, but all of my mom's like family lives in like Russia and Turkmenistan, and my dad's side of the family lives in Ukraine. But I try not to like complicate it. So like, like who I'm like talking to, I usually just saying basic like, oh, like I'm from Canada. Just because it's like easier, less complicated.
How did I get it out of you? I got it out of you pretty quick. How did I do that? I remember.
And then you're like, hello, девочка. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm like, how do you know that? I was like, what? I was like, what are you saying right now? And then you're like, oh, I live in Ukraine. I was like, no, we're like, I've been to Ukraine with families from Ukraine and stuff like that too. And yeah. And my,
I don't just say that to everybody though. I don't remember exactly the night that we met, maybe.
Mhm.
Where in Ukraine are they from? I forget. It's not Ternopil, is it? Or is it Dnipro?
No, kind of. So it's basically like Chernigovskaya Oblast. So it's kind of more like
Oh, why do I know that?
on the border of Belarus. And so my grandma lives,
Oh, so you're north of, well,
so
that's a big
I'm
region.
not
You'd be
far.
north of Lviv for sure.
Yeah, I'm not like too far. Like my dad used to joke to my mom. He's like, I got affected by the radiation. You're not gonna have kids anymore. Your kids are gonna come out mutated. That's why my mom would freak out. So yeah, so it's just kind of in the close to the border of like Belarus. Chernigov is like the main city, and then my grandma. Well, my grandma, she passed away this year, but so my aunt.
I'm sorry.
That's cool. She's living a better life, but so she lives in like a kind of rural city, a rural village, I guess. It's like typical like Ukrainian kind of like farm life, cows and chickens, and like a full on like. We call it like dеревня, like full on like farm life. And my dad grew up there in Canada and stuff. So I've been there a couple times, but it's like a very like historical city. It's very like the beginning of like Prussia. So there's lots of like history behind it, which is really interesting.
Interesting.
Yeah. So it's where
Did you ever make it to Lviv?
No, when I did go, I would just kind of mostly stay in that area. And then I went to Kiev. So I would just kind of like go in there, like back and forth. But
what year were you last in Kiev?
Well, I went like 2018, so it's been some time back.
Oh, that's good. That's good. That's a good time, though. Yeah.
Hello.
All right, and we're back
Oh,
after technical difficulties.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
So,
I have a question.
What were you? Yes, go.
How do you think, like with the way that AI and traveling is going together, like what do you think the future plans ties in with like artificial intelligence and traveling? Like what do you think is going to happen in the future? Like more accessibility, maybe more difficulty, or like maybe oversaturation of tourism, or just what do you think?
Well, I think AI is going to change everything, and nobody's ready for it, and no one's scared enough. I'm a bit of a doomsayer on that. I'm not sure it's going to end the world any faster than we would end the world, but it's just going to change things in ways we don't expect. So I think it'll change the travel industry in ways we don't expect. But right now, when I see people using it, they're just using it as a travel guide. So what restaurant do I go to? And the AI has just borrowed that data from all the other websites that are out there. So it's basically just a travel blogger. It's not doing that much more. But as far as augmented reality and looking on a street, through some glasses and seeing stuff, that'll be interesting. If it ever actually gets into reality. It's been out there for, I think, a decade now with Google Glass and more, and it's never quite made it. But I'm tempted to say I don't think AI is going to change travel that much, because travel is about what you put in your mouth. It's about what you touch. It's about what you smell. It's about what you feel. It's about your stress. You're gonna, you're gonna have some more miles on your body afterward, literally and figuratively. Some injuries, some wrinkles, some all sorts of crazy things. Some what?
Some scars.
Yeah, some scars. Oh my gosh, the Amazon. Poison trees are real. I don't know how AI is going to save me from that. Oh, this tree is poisonous. Yes, but it has a vine on it. I'd like to swing like Tarzan. Thank you very much. And suffer for 2 weeks. So I think it'll just sort of add a little bit to the planning stages and maybe to the booking stages and the practical things which are non-sexy. It'll help do things there. I don't know that it will make travel better in any way, though, because what is good about travel almost always is what you didn't plan and what you don't know.
Yeah.
Like if your expectations are too high, you can only ever be disappointed. And for me, a lot of times it's been the journey to a place that has been so exciting for me. And that has added more value than the actual place itself. Like going to the lost city in Colombia. That's pretty cool, but the journey was wow. Did you do that?
I did it. I did it too. I saw that you did it a year after I did. You did in 2023, right?
Yeah, when did you do it?
I did it at the same trip right after Ecuador. After Ecuador, I did in 2020. So after Ecuador, I went to Colombia and I did it there.
Oh, okay. I did it 2023 February. I was actually my birthday when I was on it. Yeah, it was super cute.
Remember,
we just learned how to make cocaine, and then someone brought out a little candle on a chocolate bar.
Do you remember like the watermelon there just tasted so much more better after like trekking like 3? No, how long was yours? 4 days, 3 nights, right?
500 years.
Oh yeah, 500 years.
500 years. Just 15 minutes. It was just 15 minutes for 4 days.
Oh man, that was insane.
Everyone, actually, except for these Dutch guys. Oh my gosh, they're like they must be Austrian, not Dutch. Like mountaineers, and they were also gigantic basketball people. So 1 step from them was like 4 from us. So it was easy for them. I don't remember watermelon. I remember that by the end of it, I was spending a ton of money on chocolate bars from the commissary. I would just buy these little chocolate bars and eat them. And one time, I think they took a photo of me. You know, you're in like a big hostel, basically, in these outdoor like cocaine bunks, and just fell asleep with a chocolate bar half eaten on my chest, just like.
They hit different though. Those chocolate bars just hit different.
Well, did you get hurt at all, or just feel horrible at all?
I was just so like not mentally, just physically exhausted, and I was always at the back of the team. I was always at the back, so like the guy had to like come with me in the back and like try to be like, okay, bitch, hurry the fuck up, you know. And you have like people like trekking up, and I'm like holding on to dear life. I'm like, bitch, it's not every day I hike. I know. The mosquitoes are crazy, and like when we went, it was so humid, right? So like nothing ever dried. So you would just take a shower, put on wet clothes again, and I hated that. I hated how wet my socks were too as well. But you know, it was an experience. I didn't have a water bottle, so like I was just reusing the same like 2-liter plastic water bottle. By the time I finished the trip, it was so like shriveled and like not good. But I also forgot like my towel. I didn't bring a towel with me, so like I would take a shower, put on the wet clothes, and then like, you know, go back to bed in wet clothing. And
you're like a walking disease.
I know. It was just, oh man, I just could not do that. But yeah, it was
for everyone who doesn't know, by the way, I forget this isn't just us two talking. That somebody else is going to see this. The Lost City, what is it? Ciudad Perdida in Colombia is a really cool trek in northeastern Colombia. And you trek to an old, basically Aboriginal village in the mountains. And it's super cool. And it's basically the full city without the walls and the top parts, the roofs of all the homes. And you get to walk through it. It's super cool. And it takes, I think we did the regular one, the 4-day one.
4 days. 4 days.
Yeah, so 4 days to get there.
Yeah.
Is that what you did as well?
Yeah, I did the same thing.
And most of your walking is like bigger than a Stairmaster. Like every step up is like that. And every step down is like that. So almost everybody hurts their knees. And if you can't make it, you just hire a mule.
Oh, yes.
Mules. I love mules. I didn't ride them, but this one guy in our group did because his knee just like stopped working. they can go like up inclines like that or like that. I mean, they're just the most amazing creatures ever. I love mules, mule.
And it's crazy though, because it's like you have like the indigenous who like live there and they're just in like
the Weewas.
Like, yeah, they and then they have like these like trunkless or these slides or like busted up slides. And like you have every other like tourist there in like trekking gear and hiking shoes and hiking poles, like trekking for the life. And you just see these like people just pass us up and just like looking at us like, oh man, it's crazy. Yeah.
They must just think that, I don't know, white people are just physically inadequate, tall but brittle.
Honestly, I'm one of those, so I do take responsibility for that.
We go from every place that you stay at. People really don't understand hostels, especially in South America and Asia and outside of Europe. Hostel life, baby. I mean, we go from being served beautiful cocktails at infinity pools on the roofs of all of these hostels. And then you're like, oh yeah, I'm going to go walk to the lost city. And you get there and they're like, oh, go. And these tiny little people are beating you, forcing you to march. It's Baton Death March stuff.
Did you climb the Rainbow Mountain in Peru?
No, I didn't make it that far down. I got taken by the Amazon. So I went over the mountains and into the Amazon.
Where in the Iquitos? Was it Iquitos you stayed in the Amazon?
I ended up in Iquitos.
Iquitos. Yeah. It's okay. Okay. I see it in the Amazon.
It was an adventure. Yeah. Iquitos I was there. I got food poisoning for 10 days.
Oh, shit.
By the way, did you get food poisoning on the Lost City trek?
I don't think so. No,
wow. That's impressive.
You know what though? Because that was at the time I said no meat, but now like I think it was now like I eat meat. Like I'm not a vegetarian. I never even was a vegetarian. I'd say I'm a vegetarian, but like I'm a selective one. So like I eat chicken when I feel like it. But no, I think I'd like opted for like more like egg and no meat option. But at the time, did you get food poisoning?
Everyone in our group got food poisoning, and almost everyone else in all the other groups. Some of them got it in the middle. I mean, they were having diarrhea during the hike.
Oh.
And they would just go off a little bit and disappear as best they could disappear. There's not much space. And then come back. And it was brutal. And it's not cheap for things to do in Colombia because the government controls the price and they price it for foreigners. Oh, so you're there, you're doing other stuff, which is priced at like this much. And if you go where locals go, it's priced at like that much. So it's just so cheap. And then you do this government controlled thing that's like that expensive.
Yeah.
I mean, hundreds of dollars, I think. It's insanely expensive for Colombia.
I had a friend, I met these two, it was like a couple, and their friend flew in from the UK and they went to Cartagena, and I guess with their friend had food poisoning. And like, it was just bad. Like he was like just there, like couldn't move or anything like that. They called the doctor. The doctor wanted like $1,000 USD.
Oh my God.
He's like, fuck this. I'm just going to fly back home and like, go to the doctor there. So yeah, he ended up just like saying fuck to the trip and then just ended up flying back home to the UK.
1,000. That's insane. I hate when they do that. It leaves such a bad taste in your mouth. So fuck you.
Yeah. Exactly.
What I did when I had food poisoning in Iquitos, and I know exactly what food gave it. Well, I think I know what food gave it to me because I could feel my stomach close up.
Oh shit!
It was really weird. It was just like, here's the top of your stomach. It was like,
what
no
did
more
you
coming
eat?
in.
What did you eat?
So I had just spent 6 days camping in the Amazon on the ground.
Yeah.
You paddle up. It's really cool. No motor, nothing. And then I had just taken a 10-hour, the worst ride I've ever taken in my life. I don't want to talk about it now, or I will just talk about it for like an hour. It's just the worst boat on a river you've ever taken in your life. And in the back of it, which is where we had to sit, because of course we were like the last to get on, there was a urinal that was just open. That was just behind the back seat. So every time the guys had to pee, it's just right behind where you're seated for 10 hours. And the engine noise. Oh, well, anyway. So 6 days and 10 hours of that. Then you get there. And I wanted to just relax, watch TV show, have a pizza. So I got the expensive Gringo hotel. There's just a couple of them there. For one night, I bought a pizza from the highest rated pizza restaurant in the whole city of like 100,000. It's not a super small city. It's not a town. I get home. I stupidly put the white sauce on the pizza. And I think that's what it was. Yeah. I don't know what the white sauce was. Some form of mayonnaise or whatever. It's a normal thing they put on pizzas in Europe. But I just wasn't thinking. I was just like, yes, calories. Let's eat this. And I got, I think, 1.5 or 2 pieces in when I was watching the show on my bed, AC on full blast. You don't get that often in these cities. And my stomach just closed up, just at the top. I could feel it. I was like, uh-oh. So stupidly, I went to bed instead of going to the bathroom immediately. Then I wake up a few hours later, horrible pain, walk into the bathroom. It was so nice to have a private room for what was going to happen next. And I just turned and looked at the toilet. And the second that I looked at it, it was blah. And then for 4 days, if I put anything in my body, it came out almost immediately. Even water. It was the scariest thing that's ever happened. And that was terrifying because you have to eat, but you have zero hunger. And you're all alone there. Nobody else stays in this city. So everyone that I came there with, all 6 or 7 people, they're gone. I have to go to the grocery store on my own. There's no delivery. And just hope that you don't crap yourself on the way.
Never trust a fart. Never trust
Oh
a
my
fart.
God. Yes. That's such a good traveler rule.
Like
never trust a fart when you're a traveler.
Never trust a fart too. Like
you don't know what's coming when you're abroad.
Sometimes it was so bad. So I would, when I was in Cartagena, this happened to me twice. I had to go use the bathroom, but I guess just the water pressure is so low that after I took a poo, it didn't flush, so I clogged the toilet. And I panicked. I didn't know what to do. So I shamelessly look outside both the stalls to make sure no one was there, and I ran away. You don't even know what to do at that point because I'm sitting here I just took a massive poop and I don't know what to do. There's no plunger. I'm flushing and flushing, no water pressure going in. You shamelessly look to your left, to your right. You're okay, coast is clear. Let me just run away now. And I did that with I was in the Palace of Versailles too. I don't know. I just had to take a poop there.
You clogged the Palace of Versailles toilet.
I did.
Oh my God.
No, so that's something I'm a little bit embarrassed about. But it is what it is. So shit happens. Shit happens. Literally. Shit fucking happens.
I love that. The golden turd and the golden toilet. Oh my God. Palace of Versailles. I wonder if it's still clogged.
No idea.
Yeah. I'm surprised in Colombia, someone wasn't standing outside the stall charging you $20 to plunge it.
It was so basically it was a hostel, but instead of having the private washroom in the hostel room, it was a communal bathroom. So they had 5 or 8 stalls and 4 or 8 showers. So kind of a college locker room, I guess, or something like that.
Yeah.
So I was just, by the grace of God, I turned to the left, turned to the right. Nobody saw me and I ran away.
I got food poisoning 4 or 5 times in South and Central America. Mm-hmm. No one ever really tells you about that. In Colombia, oh my gosh.
Yeah. I think, what else did I get? trying to see where I got food poisoning. I did get food poisoning when I was in India though one time, and I was just like it's like the one where you're like throwing up and pooping at the same time, and like your soul is leaving your body.
Yeah,
And
this seems like a dangerous one.
yeah, it's just like, yeah. But no, it's definitely like, it happens though, like when you're so sick and you're just like ready to call it quits and just go home after. But yeah, you just gotta like, yeah.
Yeah, that does happen. What'd you do to rehydrate?
Honestly, this is like so bad, but I just go to the pharmacy. I tell them my symptoms. They just give me what I want. I just take it. I don't even like think it twice. You asked me to take this, I take it. You asked. Oh, I remember this one time. Yes, I was in India. We were doing whitewater rafting on the Ganges.
That
like,
sounds. Oh, I hope, yeah. Keep your mouth closed.
So, but the thing is, it's like it was like right where like the peak was. So it was like right at the cusp of the Ganges. So it was like kind of where it started out, and it was like, because obviously the mother, her name is like the name of the river itself is like a motherly energy. It's a female energy, and it is like believed in like Hinduism that if you were to get cremated in the river, it stops the cycle of reincarnation. So everybody usually like gets cremated in Varanasi. But anyways, it's long. It's super, super long, like river. But we went rafting, and then you get like kind of taken away out from the tides sometimes. And like from the rafting, I fell over and I couldn't get back up. And like when I fell, I kind of swallowed like so much like water. And then it's so like you need so much upper body strength. So you just have this like worker who's just like pulling you from your life jacket, trying to yank you back in, and you just feel like a fish in like open water. You're like, please help me. And then I remember, I got sick from there, but I had a oh my God, it was
you drank someone's ashes.
And then we ended up just like, I had to go to the doctor. So the guy working at the hospital just took me to the hospital. And I think I paid like maybe like 100 rupees, like barely anything. And I got checked. Doctor prescribed me medicine. Boom, bam, bing. There, got what I needed. There, got the medicine. Boom. And it's like, I knew for a fact if I was back home in Canada, just sitting in the emergency room, like you're wasting like 12 hours, 13 hours, like 14 hours, like simply just wanting to see a doctor for emergency purposes, like you're better off dying. Like there are people who actually have passed away in the emergency waiting room because of how long it took to actually see a doctor.
It's insane.
Exactly. And like you think, and then you go to like these countries here, like the ability to just kind of see someone so quickly, get what you need, and then boom, you're done, right? And I got my wisdom tooth taken out here as well. Like I was experiencing pain, and back home in Canada, I didn't have insurance, and they're like, oh, like they quoted me like maybe like $1,500 to get everything taken out. I'm like, oh, okay, I'll just like go to another country. And then in China, they kind of did it. They're like, yeah, the X-ray, we can take it out right now. And the other tooth was optional. It's like, if you want to take it out, you can take it out. If you don't want to, then, and I think the ability to like having a choice and like not feeling that everything is like pressured for you to like do right away. Right. So I got like one of my wisdom teeth taken out here, which is pretty cool. Pretty dope.
How much?
I think it was about like $100. Like,
okay.
And like I got it's full on like anesthesia. I got the medicine. They like put the little syringe in, and then like boom, there, cut it out. That's it. It's like less actually. I don't know for sure. Probably less than that for sure. But yeah, people really did.
There's so much wrong with the healthcare systems, and it really, 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 really angers me. I mean, my dad had an issue a year ago or so, and his doctor, who thankfully he had a basically direct line to at least send a message or to the nurse under him or something like that. And they said, okay, well, it's a weekend, so go to the ER. Like, this is a really serious problem. You cannot wait. And he was in there for 12 or 14 hours waiting. And he's like, what the fuck? Thought this was an emergency. Like,
right?
Fucking hell. It's almost the time when they're actually going to start work on Monday now. Like, fuck. And I've not been able to sleep. So making my health worse. I mean, Just insane. And then, like you said, you go to the other countries, you get what you want, when you want, how you want. Essentially, they advise you. But like you said, they don't force you to do all of the teeth they want. They don't force you to do a bunch of this stuff. You can get the doctors, like you said, the $1,000 one in Cartagena and blah, blah. But if you get the real normal doctors in a lot of these countries, which are basically just not what we think of as the first world countries, you get great health care. I got one of my teeth fixed for, I think, $15 in Albania. Just a filling had chipped. And it was an x-ray. Then he cleaned it out. He had to do something with a drill. Then he put it back in, and it was either $15 or $20 for the whole procedure. And it took almost no time. I went back to the U.S., saw a dentist maybe 6 or 8 months later. I said, hey, check out this filling I had redone because, I want to make sure everything's okay. And he goes, there's no filling there. And I said, yeah, there is. And he goes, okay, let me look a little closer. And he spends about a minute looking at it, and he goes, I'll be damned. There's a filling there. And I'm like, dude, you're telling me he did such a good job. You couldn't even tell it was a filling when the one you put in before broke and he fixed it. And then you forgot that you put it in. I mean, and you're charging 10 times as much just to look at it. And then I had to have it redone earlier this year. And I think the guy lied to me to do 2 additional teeth cleaning or it wasn't cleaning. It was some other thing that he didn't think I was going to be able to check. And then his secretary was just like, you can tell when someone's talking to you in a way that they can't hide their guilt type thing.
Yeah.
And I'm like, fuck you. Fuck all of you.
Yeah. No, it's because it's a business. And that's the thing about the wellness industry business. It's just all like profiting and like making more money, right? Which is unfortunate.
And for the teeth, they know that you're not going to double check it. You don't have like another dentist to get a second dental opinion.
Yeah, exactly. It's just unfortunate the fact that how much, the wellness industry just tries to, instead of maintain wellness, it's just a business to have you keep on coming back, right? There's no sustainability in that. That's wild.
I got an MRI in Albania 3 months ago, I think. It was Tuesday. I wanted one. A slight hypochondriac, but not really. Like I just,
it's okay to
wanted to see what was going on.
Like, like if you have the opportunity, why not? Like the heck, like why not?
Exactly. And I wanted,
I'd want to get an MRI. Like
I want to see what's going on. You can't get them basically in the States. Like they made my mom wait 6 months, and then when they finally gave it to her, the doctor goes, "Oh shit, yeah, you actually do need surgery. We're going to schedule you for the next slot." She's like, "Yeah, no shit, I've been telling you."
But it's
it's Albania, and it's Tuesday, and I said, "I want an MRI." Call the hospital, the good hospital for foreigners, like the one that you just pay them and they do everything, and they say, "Okay, you need a referral." So then I asked the guy at the front desk at the hostel, "Can I give me a number for a doctor?" That's why hostels are so great. He's like, "Yeah, man, there's one block away. Here's the number." I call and I say, "Hey, I'd like to get a referral for an MRI. Can I come and see a doctor today?" And they said, "Yeah, sure. How much will it be?" $20. And I said, "And you're going to give me a referral for an MRI?" And they said, "Yeah, sure." So I go in, I talk to the doctor. She's lovely. Tell her what's going on. I said, "I just want an MRI. I want to make sure everything's okay, blah, 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 blah." She goes, "Yeah, here you go." So it's still Tuesday. Call the hospital back. Now it's Wednesday or Thursday. I don't remember which one. I had the MRI scheduled. So I go in for the MRI. I get an MRI of some part of my neck or something. I don't know. And I paid $164, I think, for the full thing, including the orthopedic surgeon's analysis of the MRI.
Wow.
$164.
Yeah.
Took me maximum 2 days from wanting to get it to getting it done. Like, are you serious? Crazy. Turns out I'm pretty good, so that's good. But like $164.
Nothing. Well, there's a really big thing, right? It's like called the medical industry. It's like medical tourism. So you'll have people who like fly to like Turkey or like India and all these other countries to have like a full body scan to have accessible healthcare, right? Like to be able to do like just, healthcare should be accessible for all. It shouldn't have to be at the price of like an arm and a leg. Like when I did the full extensive healthcare for the medical check, like I was getting like sonograms and like ultrasounds and tests I've never done before. And then for free just to make sure everything is good. Like it's nice. And, and just to have the ability to do that, right? Goes to show like the healthcare system is not even, especially I think like in the US too, like, well, and I can only speak for Canada, but like, how it's also really expensive for what, right? Like medical bills and all these things. And it's just like, you just want to live life, right?
Yeah. And I'm tired of fatties telling me to stop being fat. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It's just something that annoys me with that. Like I'm not a skinny fella, but if you got 100 pounds on me and you're about that much shorter than me, it irks me slightly when you you tell me to lose some weight.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, the one thing, I do want to clarify is that I think we've shown this is like getting things done in other countries is not bad at all. I used to think it was crazy, you were insane, but it's not bad. Like I would not want to get a spinal fusion or a knee replacement necessarily, maybe in another country. I don't know enough about it to speak to that. But diagnostics, yeah, it's the same machines. And it doesn't require a level of education that is unattainable in foreign countries to learn how to use them and analyze them.
Yeah, and they're all educated as well too, right? Like these doctors have gone through medical professional, like through like medicine and medical school and all these like certifications that they had to go through in order to be certified to be a doctor. So just because it's not where you're from, that doesn't mean that they're not, equipped with the same like knowledge, right?
Yeah. I forgot I got an ankle x-ray in Peru, actually. Cost $17.
Yeah.
$17. And I got it the same day that I needed it, which was a day after I had a badly sprained ankle. I just I hobbled in and said, like, need you to see my ankle.
No, I think you remember telling me that. What did they say? What was the prognosis or diagnosis after?
It's nothing's broken, but I fucked up a lot of the things that connect things, I think. I should have had an MRI done on that just to see what's under there.
Yeah.
I'll pay $150 or I don't want to know though. Some things are snapped.
Yeah.
But I don't have any pain unless I do certain yoga poses. So maybe I won't get my certificate. It's mostly like the balance. If I do the one where you have to balance on a soft surface with my left foot, I can do it. But then apparently I work the muscles that were super, super injured because I just stepped on something and then my ankle went like that.
The book hole kind of like, whoops. Like,
yeah. And it was in the middle of the day, no drinking involved. Just, there's not even a cool story behind it. I was walking down the street in Chachapollas. I love that place. From my favorite restaurant.
Where's Chachapollas?
I was working. I got to make sure that it's actually Chachapollas and not Cajamarca. But when I was in Peru, I was in Mancora, and then I went down to Trujillo. Oh, it's such a cool place. So many ancient civilizations in Peru. I want to go back and buy or rent a Jeep and drive all around up there.
Yeah. Call me with, because I want to go too. I went
so fun
2021, but like this is kind of still where like COVID, everything is closed. So I met actually a guy from Spain, and we ended up just staying in like Los Órganos. It's like a little beach town just away, like 20 minutes away from Mancora. But
everything's better than Mancora. Yeah. Tuk-tuk driver tried to fight me there. Yeah. It's like, bro, all right, let's go.
I love the
like, anyway, I hate that. Whatever, different story. I actually, yeah, I hate the tuk-tuk drivers there. So I'm in Mancora, then go to Trujillo, learn a lot about the ancient Mocha civilization. Super, super cool. Loved it. They worship giant dongs and giant vagines.
As they
It's
should.
really funny.
As they should.
There's, like giant penises and vaginas all over. It's just funny when you don't expect it. You go to some ancient site and it's just this huge.
I think that they
the
have
selfies are like epic.
Bhutan as well, or parts of Nepal. Bhutan and Nepal, they definitely have like little like deities and things that are like worshipped towards that. I'm pretty sure I saw. But anyways,
we are so conservative. I don't mean politically, just in how we live our lives in the West. God forbid a nipple shows up on TV.
Right.
All hell breaks loose. And down there, they're like, let's make the biggest dong possible. And let's put it on the side of a building so everyone can see it. So I just checked the map. It was Cajamarca first, which was the last, after Trujillo, Cajamarca, which was the last place that Atahualpa was. I think it was Atahualpa, where he gave the gold to, oh my gosh, I'm forgetting his name, the Spaniard. Maybe Cortez, I don't remember, where he said, I want gold this high.
Uh-huh.
And I was in his bath, actually. It's a natural spring bath. It's hot.
That's so cool.
Super cool. Super cool.
Yeah.
You're not supposed to go and be just walk, going. Nobody cares. It's great. It's amazing. And they only have that and the room where he put the gold in left. Everything else is Spanish now, basically. But anyway, then I go to Chachpoyas, which is up the Andes and on the way to the Amazon. So now I'm in the mountains. I think it's 2,400 meters, nose bleeding for just a couple days until I get used to it. And that's where I was for 2 or 3 weeks. I found a great cheap hotel where I had a balcony that overlooked the whole city. It was $20 a night. It included breakfast. I had my favorite restaurant, which was like a courtyard out of a movie, and you sat around the walls on the inside, and it had no roof. So when it rained, it still rained where you were eating, but just a little bit away from your table. I had everything on the menu, every drink, every food, everything in the 2 weeks. I loved that place. And it was walking home from that one day down the hill where I just stepped wrong.
Was it like cobblestones? Yeah. Like cobblestones?
Not like European cobblestones, like new cobblestones. So less bumpy, if that makes sense. More flat.
Yeah.
But it was still going down a hill. So every intersection with the street had a couple steps. And it was just a fluke accident. And it was a week and a half later, I think, when I was in the Amazon proper. So that was very physically difficult. I had to have some old lady help me carry my bag up from the Amazon ferry up the like 10-foot mud embankment onto the top where like the street was. She's wearing flip-flops. She's like half my size, like 70 years old, and just picked it up and carried it up for me.
You know what? I think I might have to go in like 10 minutes, but before we go, you should share your story where you were on that scooter accident, where you had to like perform your own surgery.
Wow, you remember a lot of things. We must have talked a lot.
We did. I remember that. Yeah. And I think that story stuck out with me the most because was it like in Southeast Asia or like Vietnam or Thailand or?
Yeah, it was between Da Nang. It was in Vietnam between Da Nang and Hoi An. It was shithole. I don't like Hoi An.
No.
It's just too touristy. It's beautiful, but it's just like so many gringos.
Yeah.
Da Nang's pretty cool. Cool city. I don't know that we have time to tell that full story. I'd like to tell it though.
You should though. Like honestly, like that story stuck with me the most. The fact that you had to like just
really
your own like surgery on yourself in your hotel room, FaceTiming a doctor. I'm like, not
So I
every day.
told you what I did in KL. Yeah.
Not everybody can do that. It was crazy. Yeah.
Well, how about I give the short version of it right now, and
Yeah.
then in another video we can explore it, because I
Yes.
like to tell the full story
You
because I
got
want
it.
to tell
You're a
how
good
it happened as
storyteller.
well.
You're a very good storyteller. Like it's just very good. So
Thank you. Well, remind me in the future to do the full story. It'll take more than 10 minutes because I want to start with before I crash. But yeah, I'm in KL. I did crash a scooter. And by the way, the MRI for that, I had them do a full spine MRI for that because I wanted to make sure I wasn't like, I don't know, close to being paralyzed or something.
yeah.
$540.
Oh wow.
I had a wrist MRI a year and a half ago. They charged my insurance $10,000 in the US.
What?
And they charged me like $2,000. Yeah. So anyway, I'm in KL. I crashed the scooter. I ripped all of the skin off of this hand.
Yes.
I should find the photos and post it. But I mean, we're talking down to like what's below skin. I don't know if it's fascia on your hand or whatever. It was just gone. The scar that I don't know that you can see used to extend like to the end of my hand. A childhood scar. Ripped off tons of skin here, massive wound right here where a rock was in it. When I popped it out, blood started spurting
Yes.
in my hotel room. That was actually scary. I was like, please stop.
Gotta
No more blood.
like a cork, push it back in.
That was so scary because the rock was flat against my skin. I didn't know that it was sticking in. And skin all ripped off here. Some pieces ripped off the hand. Bunch of skin ripped off the legs. But this was super, super bad. And I couldn't pick things up with this hand. And the hand was swollen 2.5 times the normal size. So I get to KL. Everything had scabbed over. It had been cleaned in the hospital. That's another story. And then I have to leave Vietnam because my visa expires. I go to KL. And right before my first day there, a nurse who I met called me. Didn't talk to her since I met her at the White Temple in Thailand, northern Thailand, Chiang Rai or something. And she goes, "You're not going to like this. All of your wounds are infected."
But how was she able to? Like you sent her a picture, and that's what it was.
It was she did a WhatsApp video call, and she's like, "Just show them to me." So we hadn't talked at all. She decided to message me that day, and I was like, "Oh, funny that you messaged me. Like, why don't you take a look at this?" So I put it on video, and I show her my hand, and everything had like not scabbed over, but the wound had kind of healed over. So a protective layer had gotten over it.
Yeah, over the infection, I guess.
Like some sort of layer had gotten over it, and then underneath that layer
was like the pus.
Everything was infected. Yeah, it was pus. Yeah, but for everything, for all of the wounds. And I said, "Okay, what do I need to do?" She goes, "You have to remove it." And I'm in Kuala Lumpur. I don't know the culture. I don't know the language. I'm only there because it was the cheapest flight for me to leave Vietnam because my 90-day visa was up. I don't want to just go into another Nurse Ratchet run hospital. The one in Hoi An. Oh my God. I want to slap that doctor that I talked to. It's like a bad Doogie Howser. So anyway, I go in the shower and I put her on video chat. And thankfully this one has big private showers. And I said, "Okay, tell me what to do." And she says, "You got to rip it all off." And so I try to heat it up in the shower. And I just started ripping the skin off of all my wounds.
Oh my God.
And it took 4 hours. It was 4 hours to rip it all off. And it was the most painful thing that's ever happened to me in my entire life by far for like an extended period. Because you're using your fingernails and you're scratching the open wounds. And then you have to rip off every piece of the infection on every single thing that has been wounded on both arms and both legs. And then that began the process of 2 weeks of wound care.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did you go to like a doctor, hospital doctor? Like you ripped the wound?
Yeah.
So
I had a bunch of antibiotics, and I was taking the antibiotics, and actually for about 7 days, I was sleeping 16 hours a day. It was pretty crazy, actually. But after you rip the flesh off for 4 hours, you're really exhausted. You sleep a lot and with the antibiotics. And then also, as part of the wound care, I had to pour hydrogen peroxide in the wounds as well, in all the wounds. So it was horrible. It was horrifically painful. It was horrifically bad. And the only way to get through it, weirdly enough, is you sing yourself a song. You come up with a song that you can repeat that's just 4 or 5 words, and you sing it over and over again for hours. And you just try to focus on that.
What song did you sing? What song did you sing? Do you remember?
I just make up songs. So it's always raining in Kuala Lumpur. At least when I was there, always raining. So I would just, as I'm like ripping things off, I would just say, rain, rain, go away. Please come back another day.
It's crazy. Do you ever
It
think
sounds
about,
like a horror movie.
do you ever think about publishing a book with your stories of your travels?
I've actually written a lot. I don't know. I haven't compiled anything into a book, though. I would like to do that, though.
You should.
So maybe if people watch the podcast,
like a new podcast.
I will compile these stories into some books if people are interested.
Do it.
And,
Do it.
yeah.
I met this girl in France, and she like traveled to so many countries, and she wrote a book, and like people buy it, and yeah, it's an actual thing. Like definitely, like just why not? And then you'll just always have like a piece of like memory and history, because like you also forget, like when you travel, like you forget things happen, right? You'll remember in this from time to time, but like when you have like a written piece of like literature or evidence, like oh shit, I did this, I did that, you know. So could be a new project. Definitely sign up for it. I'd read it.
I would really love to do that. So if people are interested, if this podcast can kind of take off,
you don't even need people to be interested. As long as you're interested, screw people. Do it for you. Do it because you can. Do it because you want to. You don't have anyone else. Like, you know, if you want to do it, fucking do it.
I like that. Thank you.
Yeah.
I think we should end on that note of encouragement.
Exactly. You got to live for you. You can't live for everyone else. Like, I'm interested, or, you know, and like, as long as you're interested and you're passionate in what you're doing, that's all that should matters, you know? Yeah. Well, my beautiful friend, I do have to get to work, and this was such a beautiful podcast. Thank you so much for having me on this beautiful day where we just talking about anything and everything. And I love being a yapper. I can yap all day, every day. So, and when I get my podcast set up, I'd love for you to be my first guest of honor. So, yeah, until then, hope to see you soon someday. We do need to have like a meet.
We need a reunion for sure.
Yes, reunion. We need a reunion. So
we didn't even tell our vaccine story.
Yeah.
With the yellow fever.
Oh yeah, we did.
God, we have so many stories to tell.
I love
that was a properly fun day. And then afterwards, where we were walking through the market, and we're like, why are there thousands of sneakers and they're all the same?
Do you remember?
It was so weird.
You remember the little short, like, grandfather just carrying a whole ass, like, fucking washing machine on his back?
Oh my God, yeah. We went in to pretend like we were going to buy a stove or something.
Yeah. I remember that. And he was just like this. It was like 4'9", like Ecuadorian grandfather, just like wearing a fucking washing machine as a, like a backpack, and just like, I'm like, never have I seen anything like that. That was pretty. That
was so fun. And I tried to haggle for some funny shoes to wear. Not shoes. I forget what you call them, like slippers.
They're little monster slippers.
Yeah.
And that
she wouldn't not haggle down.
She's like, no. Like, and you're like, okay.
Remember that. I was like, I'm not paying you $25 for this.
Right?
15. Take it or leave it.
Yeah, it's interesting.
I didn't get my monster slipper. Oh, we need to have another chat at some point again. This has been amazing.
Yes.
I want to thank you so much for being my first guest. And I hope that everything went smoothly.
Of course. And I want to thank you for having me till we meet again, reunion. And you're going to be on my podcast. Okay. Well, have a wonderful night. Hope you have a wonderful week and wonderful weekend. And we'll see each other soon. All right.
Thank you very much. Have a
Done.
great day. Enjoy China.
Thank you. Will do. Bye.